Chapter 12-17. C. On the original chapter, Xia Cheng blocked Li Ying and suppressed Li Ying's attacks. Li Ying was very strong. Although he was not a match for Summer City, he was very fast. Summer City's blades missed him. At this time, Li Ying's subordinates surrounded Night Sorrow. Fortunately, Wei Wei was there and could hold them off. However, more and more people were coming. Night Sorrow's Lai Kong also made his move. Because he was not as strong as these people, he could not fight them head-on. Night Sorrow pushed his time and space attributes to the extreme. He also used the Great Earth Cycle Slash. Danger! This was not a danger for 9-story tower. It was Night Sorrow's danger. The enemy did not have the ability to destroy 9-story tower, but they had the ability to hurt Night Sorrow. At this time, the people from Sky Tiger Pass had not arrived. The main reason was that Li Ying's men were fighting with all their might. They wanted to capture Night Sorrow and even kill him. Li Ying felt that the Haotian Godly Pagoda was very likely to be with Night Sorrow. He was also not sure if Night Sorrow was the original body or a clone. Just as the Angry Lin Army and the Thunder Army teleported over, Li Ying shouted, "Do it!" Hearing Li Ying's order, the Black Fiend Valley Guards surrounding Night Sorrow waved their arms. A large black net appeared and flew towards Night Sorrow. Great Emperor Cycle Slash. It was too late to dodge. Night Sorrow used his ultimate skill. As Night Sorrow stabbed out, purple light burst out and a large hole appeared in the black net. Night Sorrow's body flashed and rushed out. However, the black net covered a large area. Night Sorrow rushed out, but Hong Yi and Lan Ying, who were not far from Night Sorrow, were captured by the net. At this time, the Angry Lin Army and Qin Lei Tang also rushed over. Retreat! Night Sorrow, if you want these two people, give me the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Li Ying roared and retreated with his men. But at this time, the Angry Lin Army soldiers formed a formation and surrounded them. Night Sorrow chased after the high-level king who was holding the Red Spectre and Blue Shadow, but he was stopped by the others. Seeing the Red Spectre and Blue Shadow being taken away, Night Sorrow was infuriated. If you can't capture them, just kill them. Li Ying ran. Speed was his forte. Even though he had taken a hit from Summer City, his armor had been broken, and he had spat out a mouthful of blood. His speed did not slow down. As he ran, Summer City chased after him. Most of Li Ying's subordinates had run away. They were all elites under Li Ying's command, and their combat power was also very strong. Without Night Sorrow's orders, New Lin arranged for 2 armies to be stationed at Heaven Tiger Pass while the others went out to capture the culprit. The Qing Emperor's guards came a little later, but they also joined the operation. At this time, in the Tavern of the Dark Abyss, there were people lying in ambush, but they did not make a move. Even if someone came, they did not make a move. They were all waiting. Their captain Jie Pa had discovered that someone from 9-story tower was being held hostage. They could not let anything happen to the hostage. When the black-clothed man holding the Red Spectre and Blue Shadow arrived and stepped onto the teleportation array, Jie Pa made a move and directly killed him. Jie Pa's snake-like thin sword appeared from the side of the teleportation array, and directly pierced the man carrying the black net between his eyebrows, killing him in one move. This was the strength of the captain of the Blood Strike Guard. Jie Pa threw the black net into the hands of the people behind him. Then, he and the others attacked the people of Black Fiend Valley. Massacre. The Blood Strike Guards of the Dark Abyss were originally good at assassination. When they suddenly attacked, the people of Black Fiend Valley could not withstand it. They had just rushed out of 9-story tower and scattered, so there was no organization. Soon, the first dozen people were killed by Jie Pa's men. You two don't struggle and shout. We are following orders. We are working for Night Sorrow. We will send you back later. Let go of the 2 of them, Jie Pa said. Red Spectre and Blue Shadow, who were struggling in the black net, were stunned. They did not understand what was going on. It is not safe here. We are going to the next location. Red Spectre, I am Jie Pa. I know you. Actually, you are one of Night Sorrow's people who came to us, but you have never been here, Jie Pa said. You know me? Red Spectre was confused. I don't have time to explain it to you now. Men, take the 2 of them to the next location. When things calm down, send them back, Jie Pa said. He still had things to do. He had to wait for the people of Black Fiend Valley to come. If they came, he would kill them. At 9-story tower, Summer City returned. Your Highness, that guy was Li Ying. He was too fast. I could not catch up and kill him. Uncle Xia, don't think too much. They were unprepared. It is inevitable that we will be at a disadvantage. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He was very angry. Red Spectre and Blue Shadow were captured. He had to save them. This put him in a passive position. At this time, Knight Sorrow was not the only one who was angry. In the temporary courtyard, Li Ying learned from his men that they had captured Red Spectre and Blue Shadow subordinates. They were not teleported away as they wished. They were intercepted and killed in the dark. The people who went to the teleportation array were all killed. Who is it? Li Ying waved his hand and broke the tea table in front of him. Because he was so close to success, suddenly there was a problem. After capturing Red Spectre and Blue Shadow, Li Ying felt that there was a great chance to exchange for the Haotian Godly Pagoda in Knight Sorrow's hands. According to the information he had investigated, Knight Sorrow would not give up on the people around him. Otherwise, he would not have achieved the body of merit. So with Knight Sorrow's people in hand, it was easy to succeed. Now that they were intercepted, it was equivalent to a failure. Failure. Li Ying knew that in the current situation, he had no chance. Now, leaving the Qing Emperor's city was the best choice. Li Ying set up the teleportation array and waited for his subordinates to return. In the Qing Emperor's city, it was not easy to set up a teleportation array. Many places were interfered with by arrays. Li Ying searched for a long time to find the blind spots to set up the teleportation array in the tavern and this courtyard. Now that such a big problem had occurred, the Qing Emperor's city would definitely be cleaned up. He had to leave. While Knight Sorrow was waiting for the news, he really got the news. Red Spectre and Blue Shadow had returned. Seeing the two return, Knight Sorrow stood up excitedly. Are you okay? Another group of people saved us. They said they were working for you, but it seems that they are not from the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Red Spectre said. I understand. It's good that you are safe. We will remember this. Li Ying of the Black Fiend Valley. I will not let him go. Knight Sorrow's face was filled with murderous intent. This was not the first time Li Ying had provoked him. The first time Li Ying sent his personal guards, it was equivalent to a conversation. Then, Li Ying did not stop. He wanted to attack his family in the 9-domain world. Now, he wanted to capture the people around him. This had crossed Knight Sorrow's bottom line. Also, this storage ring. Someone asked me to bring it to you. He said you should have gone to get it a long time ago. You didn't, so he could only ask me to bring it to you. Red Spectre took out a storage ring. Knight Sorrow nodded and took the storage ring. He knew that the people who saved Red Spectre and Blue Shadow were Dachura's subordinates. This time they really helped him a lot. Chapter 12:18. You two go and rest. Uncle Summer, tell Nu Lin and the others to kill all those who can catch up to them and then retreat. Don't cause a commotion in the city, Knight Sorrow said. Okay, I'll pass on the message right away. Summer City nodded. He knew Knight Sorrow very well. If Red Coat and Lan Ning didn't come back, Knight Sorrow would turn the Qing Emperor city upside down. Now that they were fine, he wouldn't continue to do things arrogantly. Back in the main hall, Knight Sorrow vibrated the concentric crystal and communicated with Datura. Today is really strange. You actually took the initiative to look for me. Don't tell me you miss me. I don't believe it. Datura's face was full of smiles. It's not like you to have so little confidence. However, I'm here to thank you. I ran into some trouble today and your subordinates helped me solve it. They also gave me a storage ring, Knight Sorrow said. So that's how it is. Hee, it's nothing. They've been gone for a few years just to help you today. I've told you twice about the resources, but you didn't take them, so I didn't bother to tell you. Now they're finally in your hands, Mandela said. I, Knight Sorrow, am an indomitable man. It's not appropriate for you to take care of me, Knight Sorrow said as he shook his head. This was also the reason why Knight Sorrow didn't take the resources for a few years. Do you need to be so clear with me? Besides, didn't I use your soul cultivation liquid? You should know that rejection is sometimes hurtful. It's the attitude of treating me as an outsider. Datura's smile disappeared. I'll take it, I'll take it. Don't be unhappy. It's all my fault. Knight Sorrow looked at Dachura's disappointed expression and suddenly felt bitter because he inadvertently made Dachura unhappy. You really know you're wrong? Dachura asked. I really know I'm wrong. Maybe it's not wrong to persist, but it's wrong to make you unhappy. Knight Sorrow nodded. Good, now I understand. A smile appeared on Dachura's face. She was very happy. She knew about Knight Sorrow's persistence. Now, because of her emotions, Knight Sorrow was willing to change himself. This was very important to her. After chatting for a while, Knight Sorrow and Dachura ended the call. After the battle, there were many things that needed to be dealt with. People from the Nine Chong Pagoda were killed in the battle as well. More than a dozen soldiers were killed in the battle. Li Ying's men were all highly skilled in battle, so the soldiers were not able to hold on for long. After dealing with the aftermath, Knight Sorrow returned to the hall and opened his storage ring. This is my gift to you. Keep it well. Knight Sorrow probed with his soul power and saw Dachura's image. However, the image soon disappeared. Knight Sorrow knew that this was Dachura's soul imprint. If someone else opened it, Dachura would know, and the consequences would be severe. Chapter 5. Latest Chapter 5. After probing, Knight Sorrow was shocked. He knew what it meant to be rich. There was a small mountain of Saint Spirit stones, at least a few 100,000. There were also some materials for refining weapons and alchemy. Knight Sorrow smiled. This was Dachura. This was the aura and temperament of the Dark Dominator. Knight Sorrow decided to accept it. If he did, Dachura would be angry again. While Knight Sorrow was checking the resources, the Qing Emperor's city was in action. The Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards were all mobilized to clean up the Qing Emperor's city. Unknown people were arrested, and those who resisted were killed. The Qing Emperor knew about the 9 grand floors, and this made him very angry. Attacking his disciples in the Qing Emperor's dynasty was like slapping him in the face. Li Ying returned to the Black Fiend Valley with a pale face. Almost all of his men were killed, and the teleportation array in the tavern could not be used. With the Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards chasing after him, his men could not escape even if they wanted to. Li Ying understood that this was the consequence of angering the Qing Emperor. The Qing Emperor's dynasty was run by the Qing Emperor for countless years. The Qing Emperor's city was right under his nose. This time, he had angered the Qing Emperor. Naturally, his men could not retreat. Li Ying's heart was stifled. He knew that he was one step behind. If his men had brought Hong Yi and Lanning back, the situation would not be like this. He lost half of his men and gained nothing. Li Ying could not accept this. He knew that he had miscalculated something. He only thought about the 9 grand floors and did not think about other people. Knight Sorrow finished checking the resources given to him by the Dachura. The Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi arrived. Greetings, Master. Knight Sorrow bowed to the Qing Emperor. Are you okay? The Qing Emperor looked at Knight Sorrow. No problem. Also, please forgive me, Master. I did not use the army recklessly. At that time, the enemy kidnapped someone close to me. I did everything I could to save her. Knight Sorrow said. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the army could not be used recklessly without the order of the military. Knight Sorrow was the first commander. He had the authority to mobilize all the army, but he also needed to report to the military. You can use others. It's fine if you want to. They slapped us in the face, so naturally, we have to slap them back. You don't have to worry about the rest. I have something to tell you, but now is a good time to tell you. All the cultivators in the boundless universe are in human form, but 70% of them are not. Some of the more powerful races have formed their own worlds. Recently, a special world will appear. If you have nothing to do, you can go and have some fun. If you don't want to go, just stay in the 9 grand floors. Other than the team of Qing Emperor's guards assigned to you, the other Qing Emperor's guards will also pay attention to this place, the Qing Emperor said. What world? Knight Sorrow asked. The Ice Dragon World, a branch of the dragons. The most important thing is that there are ice dragon bones in that world. If you use the bones of an ice dragon to set up a formation, the power will be shocking. For example, in Chia City, If you use the bones of an ice dragon that has recognized its master as the core to set up a formation, the city will be indestructible, the Qing Emperor said. Then I have to go there, Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a while. In addition, you need to cultivate your body. The blood essence of the dragons is the best material to improve your body's strength and cultivation. The Qing Emperor nodded. He was clear about Knight Sorrow's situation. When will the ice dragon world appear? Knight Sorrow asked. In a month, but there are some things you need to know. Many people will go there, and there will be people from all the major forces, so you must be careful. If you are not careful, you will die, the Qing Emperor said. I understand. Wealth comes from danger. If something happens, it's just a matter of one of my avatars. Knight Sorrow was very open-minded. In the Great Thousand World, many cultivators made the same choice. Their original body would cultivate, and then their avatars would go out to explore and look for resources. This way they could quickly improve their strength. However, every cultivator's soul power was limited. If one's avatars were to be lost, they would have to face everything with caution. Because if something went wrong, they would be completely destroyed. There was a chance for reincarnation, but that was another beginning. Most of the time, the opponent would not give them a chance to reincarnate. Chapter 12-19. First P. Also, Summer City can't go with you this time, because the Ice Dragon realm has restrictions. It's not the restrictions of the origin of the realm, but it's suspected that there's a sleeping ice dragon. The aura of a monarch will wake it up, so no monarchs will go, Qing Emperor reminded Knight Sorrow again. Your Highness, when you return, bring that damaged item of yours with you. After a few years of recuperation, this old man can perform divinations again, Xiandaozi said. Right now, my true self is using it to speed up my cultivation. When I get back, I'll go find Uncle Xiandaozi. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was very grateful in his heart. Divination was related to the karma of the heavenly Tao, and it was harmful to the user. No one would be willing to use divination unless there was a great enlightenment or a major event. I'll find a suitable team for you. You can lead the team, Qing Emperor said. Knight Sorrow shook his head. Master, there's no need for that. I can run fast on my own and I'm a small target. If there's anything, I'll just hide. The Qing Emperor pondered for a while. Originally, he had planned to send someone to protect Knight Sorrow. Now that Knight Sorrow was going alone, he doubted whether it was right for him to tell Knight Sorrow about this. After thinking for a while, the Qing Emperor felt that he should trust in Knight Sorrow's ability, so he didn't object. After the Qing Emperor left, Knight Sorrow knew that he had to fight again. How many fights could one have in life? Knight Sorrow wouldn't give up such an opportunity because he didn't have many materials to increase his body's energy, and he didn't have much life essence left. In addition, at Knight Sorrow's current level, it was not suitable for him to cultivate with the life spirit fluid. Firstly, he would not be able to keep up with the pace. Secondly, the life spirit fluid would be more effective in replenishing his vitality. In other words, it was a waste to cultivate with the life spirit fluid. After informing He-Chio and Summer City, Knight Sorrow returned to Chia City. After arriving at the lakeside house, Knight Sorrow took out the concentric crystal and showed it to Datura. Lakeside Cottage? Why did you go back to Lakeside Cottage? Seeing the scenery behind Knight Sorrow, Datura asked out of amazement. Why can't I come back? This is also my home. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. Wait for me, I'll be there soon, Datura said. Knight Sorrow nodded and cut off the communication crystal. He wanted to ask about the Ice Dragon realm. The Qing Emperor knew a lot, but as the Dark Ruler, Datura should also know a little. There was no harm in making sufficient preparations. Soon, Datura rushed over from the teleportation formation. Is there something wrong? Yes, I want to ask you something. Knight Sorrow nodded. No need to be so polite. What do you want to ask? Datura sat down and took off her veil. The Ice Dragon realm. I want to know more about the Ice Dragon realm, Knight Sorrow said. It seems that you know about the Ice Dragon realm. I knew about it a long time ago, but I didn't want to tell you because it's too risky. Monarchs can't enter, but there are all kinds of ice dragons in the Ice Dragon realm. They might be sleeping, but what if they wake up? Once they wake up, Your clone's life will be gone with a crack, Dachira said to Night Sorrow. But this is also my chance. Currently, my original body is cultivating in the Samsara Palace. I've improved all my clones that can be improved. Going out to explore is also a form of experience. Even if I die, I have my original body and can continue to reproduce clones, Night Sorrow said. Since you want to go, I'll get you some information. You must know more so that you can avoid some risks. Wait here, Dachira said. I'll go home first. I haven't seen my children in a long time. After you come, go to the house in the city in the sky and have dinner together, Night Sorrow said. Okay. Dachira nodded. She put on her veil and left the lakeside house. Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow came back, and the whole family was very happy. Night Sorrow took his children and Papa Goo to the lake to fish. When the sun set, Dachira came. Just as Dachira was about to speak, Night Sorrow shook his head gently. He didn't want his family to worry about some things. He would go on his own. Dachira didn't say anything. She could understand what Night Sorrow meant. After dinner, when they went out for a walk, Dachira gave some information to Night Sorrow and a map. It's very dangerous, but if you want to go, I won't stop you. However, you have to be careful, Dachira said. I will. When I'm not around, you have to pay more attention to the family, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry about that. There's no problem. Your master has taught Black Fiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island a lesson. They won't act rashly, Dachira said. Lesson? I don't quite understand. Night Sorrow looked at Dachira suspiciously. It seems that the Qing Emperor didn't tell you that someone was targeting you some time ago. The Black Fiend Valley even made a big fuss. The Qing Emperor sent his secret guards to the Black Fiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island to carry out some attacks. Many core members of the Black Fiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island were assassinated. The Qing Emperor also left a message. If anyone dares to act presumptuously in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, he won't tolerate it. The Black Fiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island didn't respond because they knew very well what was going on. They were the ones who provoked the Qing Emperor's dynasty first, Dachira said. Night Sorrow nodded. He really didn't expect that the Qing Emperor would do that. In addition, when the Ice Dragon Realm appeared, not only the people of the world of Samsara went back, but also the people of the Shunwu Great World and the Black-Yellow Great World. You are a nominal member of some forces. They will definitely attack you when they see you. Sometimes people are scarier than demonic beasts. You don't know who your enemy is, Dachira said. I understand. I won't get close to others and stay far away from them. If anyone has bad intentions, I will kill them directly, Night Sorrow said. It's fine as long as you know it. The key areas are marked on the map. You have to be careful. There's still a month before people from the Dark Abyss go there. I'll make some arrangements then, Dachira said. Night Sorrow understood that Dachira was worried that he couldn't go there alone, so he had to make some arrangements. However, he didn't want to do that. Aluo, I still want to go there alone. It's more convenient this way. I feel a little awkward bringing someone with me. I also rejected the arrangement made by my master, Night Sorrow said. You have such a bad temper. I really want to kick you. But since you think so, I won't force you, Dachira said helplessly. Don't kick me. I'm also a man. I was embarrassed last time. Night Sorrow was helpless at this time. I remember there's a saying that a man's virtue is to be afraid of his wife. Although we still need time, this saying makes sense, Dachira said. The two sat on the wooden boat by the lake and chatted casually. Dachira talked about the Ice Dragon Realm and told Night Sorrow what he needed to pay attention to. The most terrifying thing in the Ice Dragon Realm was to meet an ice dragon that wasn't in hibernation. The ice dragon was a superior dragon. Its body was full of treasures, but its strength was also very strong. The bones of the ice dragon were not that easy to get. Chapter 12:20. The bones of the Ice Dragon King are not easy to obtain. Ice Dragon were called kings because they were extremely powerful when they were alive. After they died, they would enter a special area to hide their bodies. Normally speaking, Ice Dragon were at the level of a heaven master. It was extremely difficult for them to die. However, There was a tribulation in the ice dragon world. Every period, there would be a tribulation. The tribulation of wind and fire was a test for the ice dragon. The tribulation of wind and fire was that it would take away the life force of living creatures. Ice dragon was strong, but ice dragon was even stronger. They would not easily transform. Even if they did, it would be an illusion. Their bodies were huge and they had extremely strong life force. However, once a large part of their life force was taken away, even if they could survive the tribulation of wind and fire, the remaining life force would not be able to support their survival. So that's how it is. I've always been puzzled. Monarchs have unlimited lifespans. So why would they have the remains of the Ice Dragon King? Now I understand. Knight Sorrow nodded. Rank 9. At the level of a Heaven Master, to enter rank 9, you have to go through the tribulation of wind and fire. There were people who took this step before, but they died in the tribulation of wind and fire. You should know how terrifying the tribulation of wind and fire is. You can say that it is a demonic tribulation. Datura said. Then you have to be careful. Knight Sorrow looked at Datura and said, That's right. I know how to care for others. In fact, if I can take this step, I am willing to try the tribulation of wind and fire. However, it is too difficult to take this step because no one knows how a Heaven Master can take this step and enter rank 9. Perhaps someone has done it before, but who can say what the opportunity is? There are many Heaven Masters in the Supreme World, but no one has really taken that step. Even if there is, we don't know. Datura said. There are some things that no one can say for sure. You will only understand when it happens to you. Knight Sorrow said. That's right. Cultivation is endless. As long as you want, your strength will increase. Although your cultivation and realm cannot increase, you can still study absolute arts. Datura nodded. Knight Sorrow understood that absolute arts were the products of Heaven Masters when their cultivation and realm could not increase. That was still far away from him. Next, he had to go on a risky exploration. Knight Sorrow did not return to the 9 Grand Building. He stayed in the city in the sky to accompany his parents. Datura did not leave. She and Knight Sorrow, Xia Cheng and Jun Xuanji often came over and told Yi Shang some news. However, they kept it a secret from Yi Shang's family. This was Yi Shang's idea. Now that the matter in the Ice Dragon realm had caused an uproar, almost all the forces would participate. The Qing Emperor dynasty had a team, but Knight Sorrow did not plan to go with anyone. He was used to being alone. The Dark Abyss also sent a team. Datura and Knight Sorrow had talked about this. However, Knight Sorrow did not want to go with anyone. If he went with a team, he would have to bear the responsibility. There were also some disadvantages. No one was familiar with him. Although he would be the core of the team because of the relationship between the Qing Emperor and Datura, he would not be able to cooperate perfectly if he was not familiar with them. This was not because Knight Sorrow was selfish. There was an objective reason. Jun Xuanji also collected some information for Yi Shang. The more detailed the information, the more helpful it would be for Yi Shang. Another thing was poisons. Yi Shang asked Jun Xuanji to help him collect some poisons. When going out on an expedition, some things had to be prepared. Knowing Knight Sorrow's needs, Datura took over this matter. It was much easier for Datura. Knight Sorrow did not even need to refine the poisons. Datura directly refined the poisons and handed them to Knight Sorrow. One was the 7 absolute poison that Knight Sorrow was most used to using. The other was the more vicious soul-extinguishing poison. Poisons in the form of smoke were the easiest to use and the hardest to defend against. After handing the 2 poisons and the antidote to Knight Sorrow, Datura was relieved. The 2 poisons were very powerful. The soul-extinguishing poison was extremely powerful. Even a monarch would fall if hit by it. Of course, if one used energy to protect their body, the poison might corrode one's energy, but it would not be fatal. I have to be careful too. I carry poisons, but others can, Knight Sorrow said. But strange poisons are not that easy to obtain. The materials for the soul-extinguishing poison can only be found in the Dark Abyss. The 7 absolute grass is also extremely rare. It is not that easy to obtain. However, you also need to prepare a top-grade antidote. Antidotes that can deal with most poisons are not easy to obtain. I will help you think of a way, Datura said. Xuanji, help me collect materials for a type of flowing light grass. I am currently lacking flowing light grass to refine the colored glass pill, Night Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji. Look at the original chapter, Section 1, Colored Glass Golden Pill? A colored glass golden pill that is immune to all evil? That requires too many materials. Isn't that too high grade? Dachura looked at Night Sorrow with a surprised expression. This is the benefit of taking orders for alchemy and refining equipment. I have accumulated a lot of materials, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Life essence. The most important thing is the life essence. I used to have some, but I don't have any now. It will not be easy to find them in the dark abyss, Dachura said. Hee. Didn't I say that I only lack flowing light grass? I have the life essence. Night Sorrow nodded at Dachura. Then Jun Xuanji went back to make arrangements. Now the influence of the 9-story tower was very big. It was very convenient to do some things in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, mainly because the officials were willing to cooperate. The ice dragon bone is actually not just a bone. It represents a treasure. As a giant, the ice dragon has a very rich collection. At present, we haven't obtained any ice dragon bone or treasure in the world of Samsara, but someone in the Black-Yellow Great World has obtained more than one. The Black-Yellow City's Great City Protecting Formation is based on the ice dragon bone, and the other ice dragon bone has been refined into a weapon, the ice dragon whip, Dachura said to Night Sorrow. Let's talk about it later. It's still too early to think about it. Night Sorrow knew that things would not be so easy. I believe you. If you eat the meat, maybe I can drink the soup, Dachura said as he patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. What are you talking about? When did I eat the meat and let the people around me drink the soup? Night Sorrow said to Dachura with a smile. Then, the two of them chatted casually for a while. Mandela's advice to Yi Shang was that there was no need to get into unnecessary fights with others. If they couldn't handle it, they should just leave. Getting the treasure was the most important thing. In fact, Night Sorrow understood that Dachura was worried because even if the monarchs couldn't enter, there were still the advanced king. Night Sorrow was currently at the peak of the junior king. There were several levels between them, so there was a big gap in strength. Even if he could fight with a higher level, it was not enough. In addition, Dachura told Night Sorrow that the Ice Dragon world had appeared for a long time, about 30 years. In other words, Night Sorrow had 30 years to explore, which was incomparable to the time other small worlds appeared because the Ice Dragon world was a high-level world. The higher the level and the bigger the world, the slower the speed of movement. Chapter 12:21. BR 20 days later, Jun Xuanji did not disappoint Night Sorrow and received the flowing light grass. The glazed golden pill was a top king-level pill. Night Sorrow still had some difficulty refining it, but there was a possibility of failure. Looking at Night Sorrow who was deep in thought, Dachura smiled. Usually, it's your turn to refine pills and accumulate more experience. But now, you can't afford to fail. This is related to your safety. Let me do it. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He really couldn't fail now because there were 2 portions of the flowing light grass. There was no extra for him to squander. Dachura's alchemy level was much higher than Night Sorrow's because she had the support of her cultivation. Without any problems, Dachura refined 2 cauldrons of glazed golden pills. Night Sorrow also left 2 for Dachura. After Night Sorrow stayed in the city in the sky for a month, the Ice Dragon realm appeared at the edge of a high-level world. This world was located between the world of reincarnation, the Xianhuang world, and the Shenwu Great World. This time, Qing Emperor brought Night Sorrow there. He also formed a team of Qing Emperor's guards. Dachura and Red Emperor followed behind them. Red Emperor looked at Dachura, his eyes full of anger. His son was killed by Night Sorrow because of Dachura. Zhan Taiyang also appeared with people behind him. In addition, there were also teams from the Black Fiend Valley. Everyone in the Ice Dragon realm wanted to try their luck. Zhan Taiyang looked at Dachura with killing intent in his eyes. Because Dachura interfered in the middle, his plan failed. Staring at me? If you still want to kill me, then you can go and die. Dachura, who was originally looking at Red Emperor, noticed the murderous look in Zhan Taiyang's eyes. He was instantly enraged. His hollowed-out katana appeared and slashed at Zhan Taiyang. Zhang Taiyang drew his sword and fought with Datura. Then, the two of them moved and began to fight. None of the sky pillars were afraid of anyone. When there was a conflict, they might just fight to vent their anger. It was impossible for anyone to kill anyone. It was unrealistic. However, as the battle unfolded, the spectating Heaven Masters realized that something was amiss. Datura was very strong at this moment. He was crushing Zhang Taiyang head-on, and this was under the situation where Zhang Taiyang had yet to use his ultimate move. A piece of trash like you dares to stare at me? Today, I'll let you know that there are some people you can't provoke. Death destruction slash. Datura scolded Zhang Taiyang. Then, a black light wave appeared on the black hollowed-out katana and swept towards Zhang Taiyang. Then, another slash appeared. This slash carried the profound principles of the heavenly Tao. This was the ultimate move, death destruction slash. Datura, how dare you? Heaven-seizing shield. Zhang Taiyang's expression changed drastically. He immediately raised a golden shield. Your gaze is about to kill me. Why wouldn't I dare? Datura roared. His blade slashed on the golden heaven-seizing shield. With an explosive sound, golden and black light sputtered, and the shield was cut into two pieces. Slash again. Mandela caught up with Zhang Taiyang in a flash and followed up with another death obliteration slash. A black halo enveloped Zhang Taiyang. Datura's hollowed-out katana slashed again. Datura, stop. This isn't appropriate. Black Fiend Valley's Valley Master Li Tianba stood out. There was another old man as well. They were all overlords of the world of reincarnation. Naturally, they didn't want Datura to kill Zhang Taiyang. If Zhang Taiyang was killed by Datura, then the North District of the world of reincarnation would be annexed by the East District. This would affect the balance of the world of reincarnation. But at this moment, the Red Emperor and the Qing Emperor moved and blocked the path of the others. In the world of reincarnation, internal conflicts were common. But when there were other battles, they were united against external enemies. No matter how big the grudges were, this was why the Red Emperor could stand out now. Heaven-seizing escape technique. At this moment, Zhang Taiyang roared. His body started to blur and sway. Slash. Datura spat out another word. The black hollowed-out katana landed on Zhang Taiyang's blurry shadow. Datura, I, Zhang Taiyang, am irreconcilable with you. Zhang Taiyang roared. His figure dissipated. However, an arm floated down from the sky. It was the left arm with a storage ring. At this moment, this arm also flew out. Zhang Taiyang's soul imprint was on it. At this moment, it was also trying to escape. Irreconcilable? How many times can you use the heaven-seizing escape technique? The next time I see you, I will take your dog life. Datura stretched out his left hand and restrained Zhang Taiyang's arm. He then kept it and landed in front of the Dark Abyss's team. No one spoke. No one made a sound. It was too shocking. All the overlords knew that the balance was broken. In the past, the overlords were not afraid of anyone. But now, who would dare to provoke Datura? In the past he was willful. Now that his strength had increased, he had the capital to be willful. Scram from the heaven-seizing island. Datura roared at the heaven-seizing island's team. She cupped her hands towards the Qing Emperor and the Red Emperor. She naturally knew that it was the Qing Emperor and the Red Emperor who stood out and blocked the others, giving her a chance to severely injure Zhang Taiyang. Q forever, free equals our novel. The Qing Emperor cupped his hands in return. The Red Emperor hesitated for a moment and also cupped his hands towards Datura. Although he was angry, he also knew that Datura had one face for the Eastern District of the world of reincarnation. In the future, the other three districts would not dare to talk nonsense with the Eastern District. Everyone, please don't blame him. Zhang Taiyang is too despicable. You all know what kind of person he is. Originally, it's not a big deal to have some small conflicts with him. However, he looked at me with killing intent today. Since he wants to kill me, I naturally can't let him do as he pleases. Mandela cupped her hands towards Li Tianba and the other Sky Masters. She had the capital to be strong, but she could not make enemies everywhere. Because it was meaningless. Anyway, since the matter was settled, she would give some face to others and they would not be hostile. Li Tianba and the others also cupped their hands in return. Which one of the overlords was not a sly old fox? Now that Dachira had given everyone a way out, who would not accept it and make Dachira unhappy? Dachira currently had the strength to kill people of the same level. The matter was over, but Zhang Taiyong had suffered a great loss. Then, everyone waited for the arrival of the Ice Dragon world. Currently, there was still some time. The Ice Dragon world was not close to this world yet. Only when it was close could they enter. There were many teams. Everyone was competing with strength and opportunities. Knight Sorrow was wearing a mask and following behind the Qing Emperor's guards. He was the target of many people's attention, so he was more careful. The Azure Emperor had made arrangements, and the Azure Emperor's guards were all wearing masks. That was to say, those who weren't particularly observant wouldn't be able to discover Knight Sorrow. At the very least, the leaders of the other factions wouldn't be able to discover Knight Sorrow and issue orders. What would happen inside was another matter altogether. Time passed slowly. Knight Sorrow was very calm. The main reason was that he had experienced many things. In addition, he was very happy because the soul cultivation liquid was very helpful to Dachira. In the world of reincarnation, no one would openly make things difficult for her. Chapter 12:22. So much good to look at. In the past 2 days, the spatial barrier of this high-level world had been violently shaken. This was caused by the collision between the two worlds. Knight Sorrow knew that it was time to leave. Qing Emperor waved his hand, and the Qing Emperor's guards set off. When they passed by Qing Emperor, Knight Sorrow nodded slightly, then looked at Dachira. At this moment, Dachira was looking at Knight Sorrow. Although she was in the crowd, she knew Knight Sorrow's aura. If she could not recognize her fiancé because of a mask, then she did not deserve to be the Dark Dominator. Dachira nodded at Knight Sorrow. She was a little worried, but she knew that this was the path that Knight Sorrow had chosen. If there was anything else, the two could continue. Dachira had exchanged for the concentric crystal, which could allow long-distance communication. This kind of concentric crystal was very rare. It was a king-level material, and ordinary people could not get it. The concentric crystal had a distance limit. It could be ordinary in a world, but it could be advanced if it could cross worlds. Ice Dragon World was a high-level world, and there were special rules that would infinitely weaken the power of these auxiliary treasures. Therefore, Dachira had obtained a top-grade concentric crystal. To be able to obtain such a top-grade concentric crystal, it was also Dachira's ability. The temporary captain of the Qing Emperor's guards tore open space and brought everyone into the spatial turbulence. Because the normal leader of the Qing Emperor's guards was a sovereign, the sovereign could not enter, so the temporary captain was a high-level king. Knight Sorrow followed the Qing Emperor's guards and flew in the spatial turbulence. The spatial turbulence was very stressful, but everyone was a high-level king, so their protective energy was not a problem. Knight Sorrow had the power of desolates to protect his body, so naturally, he could withstand it. So much good to look at. After 15 minutes, the captain of the Qing Emperor's guards tore open a spatial barrier. This is the Ice Dragon realm. The current crisis is the struggle between us and the other forces, so we should leave this area as soon as possible. Guard Captain Qing Emperor did not let everyone stay. After entering the Ice Dragon realm, they quickly flew, because after some teams entered, there might be some fights. After flying for thousands of miles, the group finally landed. Everyone, let's part ways here. When we return, let's meet again at the 9 Grand Floors. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands towards the group. Your Highness, you can actually come with us. We're here to serve Dynasty and Your Highness, the captain of the Qing Emperor's guard said to Knight Sorrow. Thank you for your kind intentions. My cultivation base is low. If there's a battle, all of you will have to protect me. That will increase the pressure and cause unnecessary losses. I, Knight Sorrow, am not the kind of person who would step on the shoulders of his brothers. Everyone, be careful. If you can't do it, just go back. Master won't blame you. Knight Sorrow said. Take care, Your Highness. All of the Qing Emperor's guards cupped their hands towards Knight Sorrow. After returning the greeting, Knight Sorrow left in a flash, not wanting to go with the others. Knight Sorrow was not afraid that others would steal his opportunity, but it was really not suitable. First, it was because his cultivation base was low. Second, it was because some of his techniques could not be exposed in front of others. #MVX. After separating, they found a hidden place. Knight Sorrow inserted a soul crystal into the ground and then set up a formation. He set up an illusion formation and a teleportation formation in the center of the formation. Then, he set up a teleportation formation and embedded a teleportation crystal and another teleportation crystal. This was his secret and escape route. With the teleportation formation, it would not be a problem for him to return at any time. Even if the teleportation formation was destroyed, he would still be able to determine the location by hiding the soul crystal. After setting up his secret plan, Knight Sorrow took out a map. He did not know if others had a map, but if he had one in his hand, it would be an opportunity. However, if he wanted to understand the map, he first needed to know the location. Currently, Knight Sorrow did not know where he was. Therefore, he had to continue flying and look for a conspicuous terrain with markings on the map. This way, he would be able to use the map accurately. After flying for half a day, Knight Sorrow felt a little cold. The Ice Dragon world was the breeding ground of the Ice Dragon race. The water was of the ice attribute, and it was an extremely cold place. Knight Sorrow shook his body and increased the circulation of his blood and chi. His body was of the Two-Star King realm. Naturally, he could withstand this cold air. While flying, Knight Sorrow carefully probed. Firstly, he did not want to meet other teams. Secondly, he did not want to be discovered by the demonic beasts in the Ice Dragon world. The Ice Dragon world was a high-level world. It was not inferior to the Sky Profound world, Sky Dome world, or any other world. The Ice Dragons were the rulers of this world. However, it was normal for other demonic beasts to run amok in other remote areas. At this moment, he felt his sleeves vibrating. Knight Sorrow took out the concentric crystal. Fortunately, I was afraid that it would malfunction. How is the situation now? Datura appeared in the concentric crystal. Nothing much. I split up with the Azure the Archguard and avoided the other teams. Right now, I'm trying to find my way forward. I'm trying to figure out where we are, Knight Sorrow said after taking off his mask. Have you made the arrangements? Have you made the location of the entrance? Datura was a little worried. I hid the soul crystal and also set up a teleportation formation. When I want to return, I will set up a teleportation formation and connect it with the other. Then, I will be able to teleport back. Knight Sorrow said. One is not enough. What if it is destroyed? Let's change the location and set up another one. Datura reminded Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew that Datura's idea was right. It was relatively safer. Originally, Knight Sorrow did not have many teleportation stones. However, Datura did not lack resources. Among the resources given to Knight Sorrow, there were some teleportation stones. After breaking the concentric crystal, Knight Sorrow set up another teleportation formation before continuing forward. The Ice Dragon world was very big. If he wanted to explore the entire world, not to mention 30 years, even 300 years would not be enough. Take the Sky Profound world for example. There were some places that required several teleportation formations. The area was too big. Now, Knight Sorrow needed to confirm his location on the map. Then, he would move stealthily toward the core area marked on the map. Although there were dangers at every step, with a direction and goal, he was closer to success. Knight Sorrow was looking forward to the Ice Dragon Bone. It was a supreme treasure that could set up the Ice Dragon Sealing Array. The Ice Dragon Sealing Array could guard the core cities of the 9-domain world. According to the thinking of ordinary people, the most important city of the 9-domain world was Seven Night City. However, Knight Sorrow did not think so. He knew that the 9-domain world would become a supreme world in the future. It would be on the same level as the Reincarnation Great World, the Black-Yellow Great World, and the Shinwu Great World. At that time, the core of the world would be Clear Sky City. Now, the 9-domain world was expanding. Others might not be able to feel it, but as the Realm Lord, Knight Sorrow knew that the 9-domain world was developing rapidly. Its territory was expanding. The island where the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall was located, which was the area of Clear Sky City, was also expanding. The land area was also expanding. After the rise of the 9-domain world, the defense of Clear Sky City was more crucial. It was the most important place in the 9-domain world. Chapter 12:23. As for whether he could obtain the remains of the ice dragon, only God knew. High-level ice dragons would enter the ancestral land of the ice dragons before they fell. If there were scattered ice dragon skeletons outside, it was because their lives had come to an end before they reached the ancestral land. As long as he could find the skeletons of the ice dragon, even if they were not the ice dragons, it would be a great harvest. After all, there would be some treasures left in the place where the ice dragon fell. Knight Sorrow moved forward every day, observing the terrain as he moved forward. The only bad thing was that there were no elixirs or resources to collect in this world of ice and snow. There were a few ores, but they were relatively rare. Fortunately, Knight Sorrow was not as desperate for resources as before. He had a lot of merits in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. He could exchange for any resources in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Besides, his fiancée, Datura, supported him greatly. She gave him a pile of Holy Spirit stones and some miscellaneous resources, which were enough for him to use. Knight Sorrow did not like to kill for no reason. Every time he rested, he would boil water and make tea. However, there were still some ignorant demonic beasts that came looking for trouble. Knight Sorrow did not hold back. He barbecued meat and wine, which was much better than drinking tea. Datura sometimes asked Knight Sorrow about the situation. She could not do anything about the current situation. She was in the dark. Datura reminded Knight Sorrow to be careful because it was not only the people from the reincarnation world that entered the Ice Dragon realm. People from the Xianhuang world and the Xinwu Great World had also entered. It was just that the entrances were different. Cultivators were in a competitive relationship. When they saw people who did not belong to them, they would kill them. It was normal to rob them of their resources. Ah Luo, you have seriously injured Zhan Taiyang. You have to be careful. The fact that he can cultivate the art of seizing the heavens means that he has evil intentions. Don't try to scheme against you. Knight Sorrow said. He was not worried about his strength. He was worried that Datura was not as good as Zhan Taiyang in terms of scheming. I will be careful. This time, I have seriously injured him, robbed his ring, and sealed one of his arms. He was afraid that I would use a secret technique to attack him from his original arm, so he scattered his arm. However, his blood essence and soul imprint are still suppressed in me. If he dares to provoke me, he knows the consequences, Datura said with a smile. At this time, on seizing the Heavens Island, Zhan Taiyang's face was ugly. This time, he had been badly injured by Datura. After using the art of seizing the heavens, he had lost his left arm and storage ring. Inside the storage ring was Zhan Taiyang's lifetime collection. The value of this collection was shocking. Not to mention, a part of his original body was sealed by Datura. This was the most terrifying thing. In other words, if Datura was really angry and used some secret technique, his original body would not be able to withstand it. Of course, the price of using such a secret technique to attack the original body through space might be high, but it could still destroy him. No matter how angry he was, Zhan Taiyang did not dare to provoke Datura again. This was because Datura could kill him even without using a secret technique. This was the most terrifying thing. After thinking about it, Zhan Taiyang called Jiang Wuyu. Go to the Dark Abyss and negotiate with the Dark Ruler Datura. This lord will not provoke him in the future. This lord wants to redeem the essence qi, essence blood, and soul imprint of that arm. Ask him what price he wants. Yes, this subordinate will do it immediately. Jiang Wuyu nodded. He already knew the whole story, because the people sent by seizing the Heavens Island to the Ice Dragon realm had been driven back. This group did not go again. Although it was impossible for Datura to be there watching, in fact, if seizing the Heavens Island sent people again, it was not giving face to Datura. If it was before, Zhan Taiyang would not care about giving face to anyone. But now, he had no choice but to give face to Datura. In the Bone Hall of the Dark Abyss, Datura received Jiang Wuyu. Jiang Wuyu explained the purpose of his visit, and also said that Zhan Taiyang expressed that he would not be enemies with the Dark Abyss in the future. If he is sincere, then this lord has nothing to say. Resources if he sends enough resources, that sealed arm can be returned to him. But this lord must be satisfied. Datura, who was sitting on the bone throne, looked at Jiang Wuyu and said, Lord Ruler, if you have any requests, you can raise them. Jiang Wuyu will go back and report. Jiang Wuyu bowed and said, I don't have any requests. Let Zhan Taiyang do as he sees fit. This lord does not care about his arm, but if this lord is not satisfied, the situation will not be very good. This lord will not use any secret technique. I will only throw his arm into the dark abyss to feed the evil spirits. Bring these words back. He will understand that sincerity is very important. Datura waved his hand and began to drive people away. Jiang Wuyu bowed. He was very helpless. Datura's words were the most deceptive. Sincerity? If it was less, it was not sincere. If it was more, how much was more? This was a big hole that was very difficult to fill. But Zhan Taiyang still had to jump into this hole. If he did not jump, then Zhan Taiyang would really be unlucky. It was very difficult to use a clone to attack the main body, but Zhan Taiyang had thrown away the main body's arm. If the main body's arm was fed to the evil spirits by Datura, then Zhan Taiyang would be haunted by the evil spirits in the future. His soul would not be at peace. This was something Zhan Taiyang could not accept even if he was beaten to death. After hearing Jiang Wuyu's report, Zhan Taiyang slapped the table in front of him and shattered it. He was not afraid of Datura asking for a price. He was afraid that this lion would open its mouth and ask for an exorbitant price. He still had to accept it. Positive F version of. However, Zhan Taiyang still let out a sigh of relief. At least Datura still wanted to talk to him. If he did not talk to him, then his fate would be in the hands of Datura. Datura could deal with him at any time. After thinking for a while, Zhan Taiyang asked Jiang Wuyu to prepare the resources in the Seizing Heaven manner. In addition, he also asked the forces under him to provide a large amount of resources as tribute. This time, he had to pay a price even if he did not want to. However, to him, nothing was more important than his own life. 2 days later, Jiang Wuyu took a few storage rings and a list of items and set off towards the dark abyss. Zhan Taiyang did not dare to go alone. Datura had the ability to kill him. If Datura turned hostile, then he would die. Sitting on the white bone throne, Datura looked at the list and shook his head. There are many resources, but it's not enough sincerity. There are only 1 million Saint Spirit Stones. I give people hundreds of thousands each time. Go back and tell Zhan Taiyang to add a little more. His life is too worthless. Add another 500,000, and I will consider. Datura threw the list back to Jiang Wuyu. The corner of Jiang Wuyu's mouth twitched. He knew what was written on the list. There were 1 million Saint Spirit Stones on the list, but there were many other rare resources. Added together, they were worth at least 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. Even so, Datura was not satisfied. Tell Zhan Taiyang that he can earn more resources. He controls the northern region of the world of reincarnation. There will be no shortage of resources in the future. His life is the most important. Datura said. Jiang Wuyu bowed and left. He still had to go back and discuss with Zhan Taiyang to continue transferring resources. There were only 1 million Saint Spirit Stones in the Seizing Heaven Manor's storage. After listening to Jiang Wuyu's report, Zhan Taiyang sighed. Although he knew that the resources he had taken out were sky-high prices, he knew that it was not enough. Even if it was enough, Datura would increase the price. However, Zhan Taiyang had to accept it. When he took out the list for the first time, he did not dare to take less. Datura was the Dark Dominator. If the resources on the list were less, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 12:24. At the level of a Heaven Master, who would lack resources? If Zhan Taiyang's list was too small, Datura might not even talk about it. Therefore, even if it cost him money, Zhan Taiyang had to accept it. Heaven Seizing Manor really didn't have 500,000 Saint Spirit Stones right now. Zhan Taiyang could only order all the forces under his command to gather them. 2 days later, Zhan Taiyang had gathered 500,000 Saint Spirit Stones. Only then did he arrange for Jiang Wuyu to go to the Dark Abyss. After checking the resources, Datura was quite satisfied. He took out an obsidian box and threw it to Jiang Wuyu. This obsidian box is for Zhan Taiyang. Tell him to behave in the future. You can leave now. I have nothing to do, so I want to take a look at the resources. I don't know what to do with so many resources, said Dachira as he weighed the storage rings in his hand. Jiang Wuyu's heart was bleeding. The resources that Heaven-Seizing Island had accumulated over the years were all taken away by Dachira in an instant. Furthermore, Heaven-Seizing Island couldn't do anything about it. After Jiang Wuyu left, Dachira snorted coldly. Hegemon, Heaven-Seizing Island has suffered a great loss this time. They will behave for a while, said Rowan with a smile. Zhang Taiyang won't dare to mess around with us now. If he does, we'll deal with him. Dachira was very happy. Then, Dachira looked at Bloodthirsty and Demon Blood. The two of you are not allowed to be enemies with Night Sorrow in the future. It's all because of him that my cultivation improved so much. If anyone is an enemy, I won't be lenient. I will treat them as my enemy. Bloodthirsty and Demon Blood bowed and nodded. They didn't know what was going on, but one thing was clear. Dachira was very protective of Night Sorrow. From the fact that Dachira even sent the blood-robed guards to guard Night Sorrow's hometown, it was obvious. Demon Blood, your subordinates have suffered great losses, but that's war. In the future, he won't do anything to the Dark Abyss. Dachira emphasized Demon Blood's name. After that, Dachira's body flashed and left the Bone Palace. Demon Blood, let me remind you that this is not a joke. If you continue to be enemies with Night Sorrow, the Hegemon will kill you, said Rowan. Looked at Demon Blood, who was somewhat confused. Demon Blood nodded. Although I don't know why, since the Hegemon has given the order, I will do as you say. In the Dark Abyss, Dachira was the absolute authority. She didn't need any reason to give her orders. Everyone had to obey. The Dark Abyss reputation was built by Dachira. As long as Dachira was here, the Dark Abyss would be where it was today. Every day, Night Sorrow had to travel in the cold wind. He had to use energy to protect the water he drank. Otherwise, the cup would freeze and shatter. A world of ice and snow. This was the world of ice and snow beasts, the territory of ice dragons. Night Sorrow advanced day and night mainly because he had to look at the terrain and distinguish his own coordinates. Many times, Dachira would chat with him and show him how many resources he had cheated from Zhang Taiyang. Luo, do you know that in the 9 domains world, Holy Spirit stones were once in the single digits? You guys can give us hundreds of thousands or even millions with a wave of your hand. I can't describe how I feel. Night Sorrow held the concentric crystal in one hand and the wine jar in the other. Of course, the wine jar was protected by energy. Otherwise, the wine would have turned into ice. The 9 domains world is still a low-level world. There are still high-level worlds that don't produce Holy Spirit stones. But do you know how many subsidiary worlds and high-level worlds there are around the reincarnation world? It's normal to plunder Holy Spirit stones, so the reincarnation world naturally has a lot of Holy Spirit stones. When you come back, I'll give you more. Dachira's face was full of smiles. Luo, you look good when you smile, but you're scary when you're angry, said Night Sorrow. Didn't I just scold you once? Ever since we made an agreement, when have I scolded you? I know how to be a woman. I know how to get along with you, although I'm not used to it. Dachira looked at Night Sorrow and said, Luo, thank you for everything you've done for me. I'll remember it. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that Dachira must have made a lot of changes and adaptations. It's good that you remember. Let's not talk about such a heavy topic. When you come back, we'll sit on the ground and split the spoils. That Zhang Taiyang brought a lot of treasures this time. He's really scared. Dachira changed the topic. Sure. When I go back, I'll see if there are any good treasures. Don't feel bad when I take them, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Genuine? Song Fu, when you reach the monarch realm, what's mine will be yours. But at the same time, what's yours will be mine. You'll have to hand over everything. Dachira's face was full of smiles. Okay, no problem. I'm in a hurry. Let's talk later. Night Sorrow nodded. Then, Night Sorrow continued on his journey. After breaking the concentric crystal, Dachira fell into deep thought. When she saw Night Sorrow, Dachira opened it. That meant that her marriage was coming. She was a little hesitant at first, But after getting along with him, she felt that it was a good thing. Night Sorrow's personality was very charming, and she felt that she was willing to get close to him. Datura knew that this was fate. Everything was decided by the heavens. She had been alone for countless years. Now that she had this feeling, she was looking forward to what kind of future Night Sorrow would have. She was very clear about the dominance of the supreme attributes. Night Sorrow's will of the void attribute had already reached the peak of 30%. His path was smooth. All he needed was time. After thinking for a while, Datura stretched her waist. Her body shook and there were two people. The clone stayed in the dark abyss while the original body left through the teleportation portal. She missed Lord Yu and Qing Yan. She wanted to accompany the two kids. She really liked the two kids. Night Sorrow continued to move forward every day. One day, Night Sorrow came to the foot of a mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was a glacier river flowing. Seeing the terrain, Night Sorrow was stunned. He took out a map and looked around. Soon he found it. There was a mark on the map. Mysterious Ice River. Seeing this mark, Night Sorrow quickly retreated. There were demonic beasts in the mysterious Ice River. There was a record in a book. Although the demonic beasts here were not ice dragons, they were still extremely powerful. They were called mysterious jade beasts. Mysterious jade beasts could cultivate to the level of king. They could even grow to the level of monarchs and sky masters. After entering this place, Night Sorrow felt that he should retreat first and slowly study it. There were opportunities in the mysterious Ice River. There was some purple sand, which was the material that North Star had given to Night Sorrow. After retreating for a while, Night Sorrow found a secret place and took out a map to look carefully. The mysterious Ice River was the outer region of the Ice Dragon world. However, one could reach the core region of the Ice Dragon world by following the river. The Glacier River flowed from the Ice Dragon abyss in the core region of the Ice Dragon world. Putting away the map, Night Sorrow thought about whether he should continue or not. There might be mysterious jade beasts in the mysterious Ice River, but there would definitely be purple sand. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and drank 2 mouthfuls. Chapter 12:25. It's so good to see. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he could go take a look. He brought the 8-dragon cauldron and could control it to enter the Glacier River to find the purple time gravel. If he could find it, he would have profited. After making his decision, Night Sorrow entered the 8-dragon cauldron and controlled it to fly forward in the snow. The 8-dragon cauldron was a king artifact. Night Sorrow had changed the main material of the cauldron to a high-grade one and also improved the array. When the 8-dragon cauldron was upgraded, Night Sorrow felt that it was much more difficult than refining a king artifact. The main reason was that the 8-dragon cauldron had an artifact spirit. Night Sorrow could not harm the artifact spirit, so it was more difficult. The result of the difficulty was that the 8-dragon cauldron was much more powerful than ordinary king artifacts. This was because even a king artifact spirit was extremely difficult to nurture. The 8-dragon cauldron had an artifact spirit because the Medicine Valley had nurtured it for many years. The 8-dragon cauldron had absorbed the faith power of the Medicine Valley's disciples. Night Sorrow controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to fly in the snow. He approached the profound ice river and then entered it. Night Sorrow then controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to slowly dive. The purple time gravel could only be found at the bottom of the profound ice river. It was washed down by the profound ice river and settled to the bottom of the river. This was also why the purple time gravel could only be found here. The purple time gravel was very heavy. It was washed down by the profound ice river and would settle to the bottom of the river. Translator, Zephizi Editor. Dio Quinn. After diving to the bottom of the river, Night Sorrow began to search for the purple time gravel. At the same time, he used his soul power to scan the surroundings. He did not want to see a profound jade beast suddenly appear. The profound jade beast was a talented tiger. Because of the conflict between the dragon and the tiger, the profound jade beast was not a match for the ice dragon and was expelled from the core of the ice dragon domain. Although they were not as strong as the ice dragon, their combat power was undeniable. After searching for 2 hours, they crossed the wide Black Ice River. Night Sorrow arrived at the bottom of the river near the Black Ice River. At this time, Night Sorrow found something. He saw the purple sand of time, which was an area with a whirlpool. A small pile of time purple sand was there, but it would be difficult for Night Sorrow to get it. Outside the whirlpool, there was a profound jade beast with a body like a pavilion. The Xian jade beast had the head of a tiger, the tail of a lion, and the body of a legendary qilin. Its body was covered with white jade-like scales. A 5-star king-level Xian jade beast. Night Sorrow discovered that this was a 5-star king's profound jade beast. 5-star king's Night Sorrow wasn't afraid. He could fight. Back when he hadn't mastered the will of nothingness, he had fought against the 5-star king Wuxia. But this was the profound ice great river. Once the battle started, who knew if there would be other profound jade beasts coming out? If a group of profound jade beasts came out, it would be fun. Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to run even if he wanted to. Night Sorrow controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to slowly approach the whirlpool where the time-purple sand was. After approaching the whirlpool, the 8-dragon cauldron blended into the time-purple sand and waited for an opportunity. Night Sorrow was close to the time-purple sand, but it was difficult to collect it. This was because once he did, there would be energy fluctuations, and it would be easy to discover. Wait. Opportunities were waiting. Night Sorrow had to wait. Half a day passed. When the profound jade beast flipped over, Night Sorrow's soul power erupted and directly sucked a pile of time-purple sand into the 8-dragon cauldron. Then, he controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to slip away with the current and mix with the sand. It floated a distance away before smashing into the bottom of the river. The profound jade beast flipped over and continued to lie down without moving. Steady. Success. The time-purple sand was in his hands. Night Sorrow circled around and continued to control the 8-dragon cauldron to fly against the current. This was because he wanted to follow the profound ice river to the interior of the ice dragon realm. Moreover, there was time-purple sand in this area. He wouldn't be able to get anything if he followed the shore. The profound ice river was very large. Night Sorrow slowly moved in the current. After collecting 2 piles of time-purple sand, he saw many profound jade beasts. However, Night Sorrow didn't alarm these fierce beasts. Countless years had passed, and there were no outsiders. This caused the profound jade beasts to lose their vigilance. The main reason was that Night Sorrow didn't have any hostility or killing intent. He didn't arouse their vigilance. When he was about to leave the profound jade river, Night Sorrow saw a skeleton. The skeleton was the size of a small hill. It was a profound jade beast. This skeleton was at a bend in the profound ice river. The mountain-like body was squatting there. It didn't have any aura of life. In other aspects, it was exactly the same as when it was alive. Its eyes carried an aura of disdain for everything. The white scales on its body emitted a cold luster. Collect. This was a treasure. Night Sorrow knew that if a profound jade beast wasn't a monarch or a high-level king, it wouldn't have such an aura. The aura of the 5-star king profound jade beast he encountered was far inferior to this one. It couldn't be compared at all. It would be difficult to collect this big guy. The 8-dragon cauldron was very large. It wouldn't be a problem to collect a few of these skeletons. However, when collecting them, it would cause a big commotion. If there were any profound jade beasts nearby, they would be discovered. The more critical the moment was, the calmer and more cautious Night Sorrow was. He didn't rush to the skeleton. Instead, he patrolled the river. Night Sorrow patrolled the area within a 200-mile radius. He found only one profound ice beast. It was a 3-star king profound jade beast. Night Sorrow waited for this eyesore to leave. However, a few days passed, and the eyesore didn't move. Night Sorrow continued to wait. However, a few more days passed, and the eyesore didn't move. This made Night Sorrow irritated. He needed the skeleton of the profound ice beast, but he couldn't take it away now. Kill. Night Sorrow decided to kill this eyesore. Night Sorrow had a plan. A 3-star king profound ice beast. Night Sorrow could kill it in one hit. Night Sorrow believed in the power of the great emperor reincarnation / After controlling the 8-dragon cauldron to approach this eyesore, Night Sorrow discovered that this eyesore was very beautiful. The scales on its body emitted a jade-like luster, the hair on its neck was very smooth from the water, and the single horn on its head was crystal clear. After approaching this eyesore, Yishan took out Splitter and informed the artifact spirit of the 8-dragon cauldron to control the energy fluctuations so that they wouldn't spread out too strongly. Night Sorrow was ready. When the profound ice beast turned around, Night Sorrow made his move. He rushed out of the 8-dragon cauldron and attacked with the space splitter. Night Sorrow used his ultimate move, the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash. After the purple halo covered the profound ice beast, Night Sorrow's space splitter pierced towards the profound ice beast's head. At this time, the profound ice beast moved. Its head turned in the purple halo and looked at Night Sorrow. Its big eyes were full of confusion. It didn't struggle or roar. When the space splitter arrived in front of the profound ice beast's head, Night Sorrow couldn't do it. It was because of the profound ice beast's eyes. One man and one beast stared at each other. Night Sorrow was puzzled. He had seen a lot of profound ice beasts. Those profound ice beasts' eyes were full of madness and killing intent. However, this one wasn't. Its eyes were very clear. Night Sorrow couldn't bear to do it. "I won't hurt you. Don't get in my way. Leave this area and don't shout." Night Sorrow used his soul power to convey his message to the profound ice beast. Chapter 12:26. The Xian ice beast nodded, not really understanding. It lacked intelligence and survival experience. Yi Shang felt that this profound ice beast was very different from other profound ice beasts. This profound ice beast's intelligence aside, it was as pure as a piece of white paper. Seeing that this Xian ice beast didn't want to mess around with him, Night Sorrow turned and left. He didn't even enter the 8-dragon cauldron. He directly rushed towards the skeleton of the Xian ice beast. Night Sorrow was looking forward to it. He felt that it was very likely to be the skeleton of the Xian ice beast king. If it was, then it would be a huge gain. When he arrived at the skeleton, Night Sorrow's soul power erupted and moved the Xian ice beast into the 8-dragon cauldron. Just as Night Sorrow was about to leave, he found that the Xian ice beast that had been bothering him had followed him. "Why are you still following me? I won't hurt you, so don't bother me." Night Sorrow once again used his soul power to transmit his message. The Xian ice beast looked at Night Sorrow and shook its head. Instead, it responded in a very friendly manner and nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow felt that there really was a problem. He felt that this Xian ice beast was different from other Xian ice beasts. Normally speaking, the powerful Xian ice beast skeleton's might was very strong. Ordinary Xian ice beasts wouldn't come close. But this Xian ice beast was living here, and its intelligence was like a piece of white paper. It had the strength of a 3-star king, but when he was about to attack, it didn't know how to fight back. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that he could bring it along. After Tianyu transformed, he really lacked a mount. Tianyu was his brother, so he couldn't ride him anymore. This Xian ice beast hadn't transformed, and it lived alone. Bringing it along might be a good choice. Then Night Sorrow asked the Xian ice beast if it was willing to follow him. Just as Night Sorrow thought, the Xian ice beast really nodded. Night Sorrow felt that it was a good idea. In the future, he would spend some time educating and teaching it about the world and how to fight. This time it was easy. Night Sorrow controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to enter the profound jade beast's neck hair. After the profound ice beast carried it, they walked in the ice river below the profound ice river. The profound ice beast naturally had no enmity towards the profound ice beast, so the energy fluctuations were nothing. Night Sorrow could easily collect the time purple sand. Night Sorrow felt that his luck was pretty good. Not only did he get a mount, but he also got a lot of time purple sand. The time purple sand could be used to refine weapons and defensive equipment with time formations. Even cultivators who were not of the time attribute could use it, and it was extremely powerful. Because the time purple sand itself had the time attribute, when Night Sorrow's artifact refining and array formations improved, he would be able to refine this kind of top-quality king artifact. After plundering enough, Night Sorrow let the profound ice beast get on the profound ice river and walk along the river towards the ice dragon realm. The profound ice beast was extremely fast. It was a spirit beast with extraordinary talent. Normally, it should be called the profound ice Qilin beast, but Night Sorrow's notes simply called it the profound ice beast. Night Sorrow named this Mount Ice Qilin. Night Sorrow instilled some battle concepts into it. A tyrannical mount that didn't know how to fight was useless. With a body bigger than a tent, the ice Qilin flew very steadily. Even if it was running on the ground, it was still extremely fast. Once again, when Night Sorrow was resting in the camp, Datura and Night Sorrow arrived. Through the concentric crystal, Datura saw the ice Qilin lying on the side. That's the profound ice Qilin tiger? Yes, it's currently my mount. Knight Sorrow nodded and explained the situation. How is that possible? What's going on? Why don't I understand? Datura was very puzzled. How could a king-level demon beast follow someone else as a mount? Not bad. It's fast and ferocious. I don't participate in army battles now. If I participate in army battles and ride the ice Qilin, how domineering and awe-inspiring would that be? Knight Sorrow said with a smile. He was also in an extremely good mood. You can indeed do it. It's very difficult to tame a demon beast with extraordinary talent. It's even more impossible to tame one after entering the king level. With this mount, you'll have a great advantage in the periphery of the ice dragon realm. Some demon beasts won't attack it, but once you reach the center of the ice dragon realm, let alone the core, you'll have to put it away. In a fierce battle, the ice dragon will be especially sensitive to it. Datura reminded Knight Sorrow. Aluo, I also obtained the skeleton of a profound ice beast. It's very shocking, but I don't know what level it is. Knight Sorrow said. Datura treated it sincerely, so he wouldn't hide anything from Datura. Take it out and let me see. Datura said. Knight Sorrow nodded and walked out of the tent. He took the mountain-like skeleton of the profound ice beast out of the 8-dragon cauldron. The profound ice beast king is the profound ice Qilin tiger king. It's a giant that surpassed the monarch level. It's perfectly preserved, and its value is comparable to the ice dragon skeleton. Knight Sorrow, come back. This is enough. Datura said. How can you be sure that it's the profound ice Qilin tiger king? Knight Sorrow asked. Although I didn't get close to it and couldn't feel its aura, its eyes were ice eyes. This means that it had perfected the will of water when it was alive. This skeleton is complete. It's a monarch-level array master. If its godly pearl is used as the core, it can set up a powerful array. Datura explained to Knight Sorrow. The reason why the ice dragon skeleton was so valuable and was called a treasure was because the skeleton was complete. The energy in the body was still there, but it had lost its consciousness. The empty soul pearl could recognize a master. If the ice dragon skeleton was used as the core to set up an array, the array would be so powerful that even a giant couldn't break it. When the master of the array recognized the godly pearl in the skeleton as its master, he could control the array. The ice dragon skeleton became a puppet that could control the array. What kind of power was that? The profound ice Qilin tiger king now had such an effect. It was no different from the ice dragon skeleton. If I didn't have the ability to protect the profound ice Qilin tiger king skeleton, I would go back now. Now that I have the ability to protect the treasures in my hands, even if I die, the 9-region origin pearl can take everything I have and leave. Knight Sorrow didn't plan to go back. Now that he had gained something, it was different from what he had expected. He hadn't reached the center of the ice dragon realm yet. Knight Sorrow wanted the ice dragon's blood essence. His original body still had a lot of room for improvement. The materials to improve his body's strength were especially important. You rascal, once you've made up your mind, you can't be persuaded. Now that you've reaped a great harvest, you should be more cautious. Don't hold the mentality of fighting to the death. We can live very well now, said Mandela. I know. I'm not here to die. I'll be careful. Knight Sorrow nodded with a smile. The 9-region world is very stable now. When your array skills reach a certain level, you can set up an array with the profound ice Qilin tiger king skeleton in 7 Night City. 7 Night City will be indestructible. Datura said. V.D. 9 version plus. Chapter J. Section Z. Chapter 1227. My array formation skills have improved, but it's still not enough. We'll talk about it later. Otherwise, I'll have to ask my master for help. I don't want to trouble my master, Knight Sorrow said. Yes, 7 Night City is stable now. You don't have to worry. The Blood Strike Guards are watching the teleportation array. If anyone tries to cause trouble, they'll be killed. Datura nodded. She understood Knight Sorrow's character from his information. He wasn't willing to ask for help. Ah Luo, Seven Night City is actually secondary. What I really care about is Clear Sky City. You know that I have the supreme attribute. The core of the world I refined is the supreme origin. The nine-domain world will become a supreme world in the future, Night Sorrow said. You're saying that not only do you have the supreme attribute, but the nine-domain world's origin you control is also the void origin? Datura was shocked. She knew that Night Sorrow had the void attribute and that Night Sorrow was a realm lord. However, she didn't expect the nine-domain world's origin to be the supreme origin. Yes, the origin of the nine-domain world wasn't the supreme origin. It's like this. Night Sorrow explained how he refined the origin of the void space and used it to repair the nine-domain world. He also explained how the origin of the two worlds merged. So that's how it is. Your idea is correct. Clear Sky City, where the origin of the nine-domain world manifests, needs to be protected. There's a great array guarding it. Seven Night City can only be considered a gateway, not the core. Datura still couldn't calm down. Currently in the Great Thousand World, experts were as common as clouds. However, there were very few realm lords. Even if there were, they were in ordinary worlds. There were no high-level realm lords. Night Sorrow was now the realm lord of a supreme world. This was too shocking. Yen Tianpa was the realm lord of the Wuji world. However, the Wuji world was only the core origin of a fire attribute world. After chatting with Datura, Night Sorrow rested for a while. He drank some wine and entered the dragon cauldron. He hid the dragon cauldron in the white fur on the ice cheelan's neck and let the ice cheelan advance along the profound ice river. Safe. The ice cheelan was a native demonic beast of the ice dragon realm. Ordinary demonic beasts would not attack them. At most, they would chase them away. Demonic beasts had their own territories. If other demonic beasts entered their territories without permission, they would be expelled. If they didn't leave, they would have to fight to the death. Night Sorrow was controlling the ice cheelan. Under such circumstances, how could Night Sorrow not let the ice cheelan retreat? Datura's original body stayed in the city in the sky. Every day, she would play with Datura and Qing Yen. With her taking care of the two children, Yu Qing and the others were relieved. They all knew that in the future, Datura would be Night Sorrow's woman. They were all family, so it was better to be close to the children. Everyone knew what kind of status Datura had. He didn't put on any airs, so it was rare for him to get along with everyone. This made Yu Qing, Sikong Chuyu, and the others feel relieved. No one wanted an unstable factor in their family, especially one that they couldn't control. If Datura was capricious, who could control him at home? Night Sorrow couldn't control him either. After all, he was so strong. Sikong Chuyu, Yanglei, Aoi, and the others were all in the city in the sky. Night Sorrow used the time and space pagoda in the Samsara Palace. They were studying realms and fighting techniques. When he saw that there was something wrong with everyone's cultivation or something they needed, Datura would say that he had a vision. A few words from him would be a clear path. Night Sorrow stayed in the dragon cauldron. He also used his soul power to explore. If there were good ores, he could still find them. The way of heaven was fair. The climate in the ice dragon realm was harsh. Some plants, which were natural treasures needed for alchemy, were rare. However, there were more top-grade ores. After a few days, Night Sorrow had a big harvest. He obtained a reincarnation stone, which was the material for the reincarnation blade. This made Night Sorrow very happy. Now that his original body was busy cultivating, there was no battle, so he didn't deal with the reincarnation stone. In fact, the reincarnation stone still had a lot of room for improvement. Lin Yuandao helped Night Sorrow to upgrade the reincarnation stone. At that time it was a spiritual weapon. Later, after being nourished by the heaven-sealing Great Hall, it absorbed the divine weapon Qi in the 9 regions origin Qi and became a king weapon. However, in the end, the refinement was very rough. The formations that Lin Yuandao carved in the reincarnation stone were all ordinary formations. Not to mention king-level formations, they weren't even saint-level formations. However, if Night Sorrow wanted to upgrade the reincarnation stone, he needed materials. The reincarnation stone to upgrade the strength of the blade was very important. Now that he had obtained the reincarnation stone, it was very important for Night Sorrow. In addition, under Night Sorrow's thinking, The Ice Qilin also knew about battles. It would kill some demonic beasts that provoked it. Knight Sorrow realized that the Ice Qilin was a little dull at the beginning. It was an eyesore. However, after a battle, its combat power was extremely strong. Some 3-star king-level demonic beasts were easily killed. Knight Sorrow felt that the Ice Qilin relied on its tyrannical body and valiant fighting style. Even a 4-star king-level demonic beast might not be its opponent. During the journey, the Ice Qilin was chased away twice. Because the other party was strong, Knight Sorrow told the Ice Qilin not to resist and to take a detour after leaving the other party's territory. Easy. Knight Sorrow knew that the Ice Qilin was leading him. The reason it was so smooth was because the Ice Qilin was a native beast. As long as the Ice Qilin was willing to back down, the other high-level beasts wouldn't kill him. If it were him, the Lord-level beasts would directly attack. They wouldn't stop until they were dead. When Datura was free, he would chat with Knight Sorrow. However, he did so behind others' backs. He didn't want Knight Sorrow's family to worry. When Knight Sorrow wasn't around, Datura went to the lake. Every time he went to the lake, he would chat with Knight Sorrow. In the Azure Sky Pavilion, the Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi were talking. Datura had almost killed Zhang Taiyang. This was something that the Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi had seen with their own eyes. Zhang Taiyang had paid a high price to redeem one of his arms. This matter was also known by the Qing Emperor's secret agents. Datura is really strong now. Zhang Taiyang has kicked an iron plate this time. Xian Daozi said. In the past, there were strong and weak powerhouses among the powerhouses. However, it was impossible for anyone to kill anyone. Therefore, there was a balance. No one would force anyone into a corner. If they were forced into a corner, they would act recklessly. Everyone had their misgivings. However, Datura doesn't have this concern now because she has the strength to kill a Sky Master. This time, she didn't want to go too far. If she wanted to go too far and continued to chase, Zhang Taiyang wouldn't even dare to return to Sky Seizing Island. The leader of the northern district of the world of reincarnation would have changed hands. The Qing Emperor said. Chapter 4. Previous chapter, in the past, Datura wasn't this strong. It was only after meeting Knight Sorrow that she became so fierce. Is there a connection between the two? If he has a way to help Datura increase her strength, it wouldn't make sense if he didn't help His Majesty. Xian Daozi said. This was what he was thinking. He felt that he had to say it out loud. What nonsense are you spouting? If I hadn't come to find His Majesty, would it be your fault if there was a conflict between His Majesty and His Majesty? Summer City, who had just arrived at the Azure Sky Pavilion, glared at Xian Daozi. Chapter 12:28. Xian Daozi did not say anything. He knew that if Summer City said this, then there must be a reason. He knew what kind of person Summer City was. He would not speak carelessly. Look at the chapters in the F and. Upper QV Qing Emperor also looked at Summer City. Because Summer City said this, it was obvious that he knew something. Summer City looked at Qing Emperor and did not say anything. Then if you know something, why don't you say it? Xian Daozi asked. Summer City, Xian Daozi. We have been brothers for many years. There is no problem. Qing Emperor nodded at Summer City. Soul Cultivation Liquid. His Highness has Soul Cultivation Liquid. His Highness asked me a long time ago. He knew that both Your Majesty and I have used Soul Cultivation Liquid before, so he did not say anything. Datura has not used it before, so there is room for improvement, Summer City said. So that is the case. Datura is talented. Without using Soul Cultivation Liquid, he is on par with us. Now that he has used Soul Cultivation Liquid, he will naturally surpass us. Qing Emperor nodded. Your Majesty, I cannot betray Your Highness. I cannot report everything to Your Majesty. But in Your Highness' words, he has never betrayed Master or the Empire, Summer City said. I understand. I can understand. Who doesn't have a bit of desire? It's good that he chose the right path. He's very much like me. I cultivate the way of a gentleman, while he cultivates his heart and morals. Xian Daozi, don't say anything inappropriate in the future. I trust him completely, said Emperor Qing, looking at Xian Daozi. Xiandarozi bowed and nodded. Summer City, you did the right thing. In the future, if Night Sorrow encounters anything difficult, you just have to tell me. You don't have to report anything else to me. He should have his own world. Qing Emperor said to Summer City. I understand. Since your highness calls me Uncle Xia, I will take good care of him. I will not let him go down the wrong path. Summer City bowed. What brings you here today? Qing Emperor asked. No, your highness is not in the Nine Chong Pagoda. I just wanted to come back and have some tea with your highness and Xiandarozi, Summer City said. All you do is spend all day with your little highness. You even know to come back for tea? Xiandarozi gave Summer City a disdainful look. What's wrong? Don't call him Little Highness. I don't like the sound of that. His Highness Night Sorrow is young, but he's a big shot who controls an entire world. Although he's not as strong as you right now, he's much stronger than you in other aspects. Summer City glared at Xiandarozi. Xiandarozi, what Summer City said is right. We can't look at Night Sorrow like we're looking at a child. He has the right outlook on life and the right view of the world. There's nothing wrong with his leadership skills. What he lacks is strength. Time can make up for that, Qing Emperor said. What are you standing there for? Make the tea. Summer City pointed at the teapot. You want to drink tea? Can't you make it yourself? Xiandarozi was furious. Summer City didn't give him any face. If I could make good tea myself, why would I come to the Azure Sky Pavilion to wait for you to make it? Summer City replied confidently. All right, Xiandarozi, make the tea. Summer City and Sandalwood are the same in this regard. The tea they make is unpalatable, Qing Emperor said with a smile. This was innate. The way of tea was a display of one's personality and temperament. Without a calm and stable state of mind, one couldn't play the way of tea well. Sandalwood couldn't do it, and Summer City couldn't do it either. His Highness has already said it. What are you waiting for? Hurry up, Summer City muttered. After Xiandarozi made the tea, Summer City held the teacup and slowly sipped it. Xiandarozi, bring Shangguan Hong in. Qing Emperor nodded to Xiandarozi. At that moment, Shangguan Hong arrived outside the Azure Sky Pavilion. Shangguan Hong entered the Azure Sky Pavilion. After bowing to Qing Emperor, he looked at Summer City. What kind of world is this now? Aren't all vulgar people drinking tea? How can they taste tea now? Old man, who are you calling vulgar? You have a belly full of dirty tricks, yet you still have the face to call others vulgar? Everyone has to improve. Can't I, Summer City, be refined? Remember, you also need to improve. Don't put on a hypocrite face all day long. Be true to yourself, Summer City said, swirling the teacup in his hand. I came to drink tea with His Highness today. Meeting you really makes me lose my appetite. Shangguan Hong pointed at Summer City. He wanted to retort, but he didn't think it was appropriate. He just looked at him with disdain. Shangguan, Xiandarozi, you have to admit that Summer City has really improved. In the past, you would have slammed the table, but now he's sitting very steadily. A few words from him are enough to make you feel suffocated, Qing Emperor said. Xiandarozi looked at Summer City and nodded. Shangguan Hong could only turn his head and admit it, because Summer City had indeed changed. Your Highness, don't say that. Your subordinate just looked at His Highness. No matter how angry he was, he didn't say anything rude. He was as steady as Mount Tai. I felt that he was very imposing, so I tried to learn. Summer City was embarrassed by Qing Emperor's words. You've been by my side for countless years, but you can't learn the way of a gentleman. Night Sorrow is true to his nature. You have something in common so you can feel it. This is a good thing. Qing Emperor nodded. The four of them drank tea. Shangguan Hong still liked to tease Summer City when he had nothing to do, but Summer City's emotionless retort made him feel very uncomfortable. Qing Emperor just smiled. The three of them were his old brothers. He was very gratified that their quarrel didn't hurt their friendship. This was because he valued brotherhood very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so angry last time. Night Sorrow continued to advance steadily every day. However, at night, he would set up camp and teach Ice Qilin how to fight. Other than that, he would also instill some worldviews. Fortunately, Ice Qilin was simple, but its intelligence wasn't a problem. It understood all the concepts that Night Sorrow instilled. When Night Sorrow rested, Ice Qilin would cultivate. After advancing for a month, Ice Qilin advanced. It should have been an epiphany. Its cultivation directly rushed from a 3-star king to a 4-star king. Talent. Night Sorrow could only be envious. Talented demonic beasts were indeed powerful. Take Tianyu and Yi Mei for example. They didn't have any bottlenecks when advancing. After advancing, Ice Qilin became even more powerful. Its body also grew a little bigger. When it stood up, it was more than 6 meters tall. Night Sorrow worked hard every day. The Ice Dragon world was very big. There was no teleportation array. It would take a long time to reach the core area of the Ice Dragon world. However, Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. His original body was increasing his chi cultivation in the space-time treasure pagoda. His clone couldn't do anything. He just had to pay attention to his safety and advance slowly. While advancing, Night Sorrow also studied array formations. After knowing that Night Sorrow had obtained the corpse of the profound Ice Qilin Tiger King, Dachura found some array formation books for Night Sorrow. He handed them to Night Sorrow's clone in the Sky Ceiling Great Hall. Night Sorrow's 2 clones were now studying and deducing array formations. Array formations were broad and profound. Without a good state of mind and endurance, it was impossible to study array formations. However, Night Sorrow didn't lack either. Night Sorrow mainly studied the ancient array diagram that Dachura had given him. The 9 underworld slaughtering god array was indeed domineering. Chapter 12:29. The mystical Ice Kirin Tiger King was an ice-type beast, but it was not restricted to only setting up ice-type formations. With it as the core, any formation could be set up. Of course, it was not suitable for fire-type formations. Night Sorrow was not in a hurry. It was still early, and he could take his time to study it. Ice Qilin and Night Sorrow's communication was becoming more and more tacit. Ice Qilin could carry out any of Night Sorrow's orders, and his combat techniques were becoming more and more proficient. Disregarding everything else, Ice Qilin's combat strength was astonishing just by relying on his tyrannical body. Night Sorrow did not know how the other teams were doing, but he felt that with Ice Kirin's help, they should be able to get close to the center of the Ice Dragon world. As they moved forward, there were often beasts blocking their way. Ice Kirin needed to fight, and after going through battles, its aura became fiercer and fiercer. However, when it talked to Night Sorrow, it was still very docile. At this moment, Li Tianba was talking to his son in the beast-like Black Fiend Palace in the Black Fiend Valley. Li Ying had already reported to Li Tianba what happened last time. He knew that it was the dark abyss that made him suffer a great loss. If there's one person you can't mess with in the reincarnation world, it's the Dark Lord Dachura. His strength has already broken the balance. Zhan Taiyang, the island lord of Duotian, was almost killed by him. The other Sky Masters are also in the same situation when facing him. So even if you lose out, you have to accept it. If you anger him, your father and your uncle will not be able to protect you. Li Tianba's eyes were filled with unwillingness. Everyone wanted to be an overlord, and he had been working hard all this time. When he saw Dachura's strength, he felt a great impact on his heart. He also felt helpless. At the level of a Sky Master, it was very difficult to increase one's strength because one's realm and cultivation had reached a bottleneck. So, it was unrealistic for Li Tianba to surpass Dachura. Father, isn't Night Sorrow the Qing Emperor's disciple? Why did Dachura suddenly interfere? He even said that he would protect the world that Night Sorrow was born in. That is something that I do not understand, Li Ying said. Things in the eastern district of the world of Samsara are more complicated. When there are no external enemies, Dachura, the Qing Emperor, and the Red Emperor often fight against each other. But when there are external enemies, the 3 of them will unite against the external enemies. In short, this matter is temporarily put aside. Even if they can't put it aside, they can only act secretly. Li Tianba did not dare to provoke Dachura, nor did he want to provoke the Qing Emperor. This time, when Li Ying went to the Qing Emperor's dynasty to cause trouble, the Qing Emperor sent out a wave of assassinations. The Black Fiend Valley suffered great losses. Father, I plan to go to the Samsara Palace for closed-door training to see if there is a chance to reach a higher level, Li Ying said. New fastest up. Go! If you can fully comprehend your will, the overall strength of the Black Fiend Valley will far surpass that of other forces. Li Tianba nodded. Li Ying nodded and left. After returning to his mansion, he called for Li Kai, whose strength was weakened because his doppelganger was killed. Send out spies to observe Night Sorrow, but don't do anything. Li Kai nodded and went to do it. He knew that Li Ying had not given up, but he could not do something too blatantly now. After giving instructions, Li Ying left. His original body went to the Samsara Palace to cultivate, and his doppelganger could still handle some things. Night Sorrow moved forward every day, and occasionally chatted with Datura. The core area of the Ice Dragon Realm was not something that could be reached in a short time. Even if the Ice Qilin was extremely fast, it still could not be reached. The main reason was that the high-level world was too big and its area was too wide. Night Sorrow did not feel tired. He stayed in the Dragon Cauldron every day, and used his soul power to investigate the situation. If there were any precious ores, he would collect them. As the days passed, Night Sorrow's Zhen Qi continued to rise. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. However, Night Sorrow confirmed from the map that he had only covered part of the journey, and was still far from reaching the core area. During the year, Night Sorrow's harvest was not small. He collected a lot of ores, and all of them were of the highest quality. It should be known that the last time the Ice Dragon Realm appeared was tens of millions of years ago, and the people who came there were only exploring in danger. There were many areas that were unexplored. During the year, Night Sorrow's Zhen Qi cultivation had reached the 2-star King realm. With the acceleration of the Pagoda of Time and Space, and with enough resources, he increased his cultivation by 1 level in 20 years. This was a shocking speed, because many people, even if their realm was high enough, would need to cultivate for many years before their cultivation could catch up. Resources were a problem that everyone worried about. Of course, cultivators with high status and good backgrounds did not have to worry about this problem. Night Sorrow had accumulated a lot of origin spiritual liquid and a reserve of holy spirit stones, so he did not have the disadvantage of lacking resources. As his Zhen Qi cultivation increased, Night Sorrow's Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash's power increased. After all, the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash was based on void energy, laws and will. Every night, after setting up camp, Night Sorrow would cultivate his battle skills, the Void Extreme Kill, and the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash. Night Sorrow, you're really good. You can really endure loneliness, Datura said once again. I've only been here for a year. Others have lived for tens of millions of years. Only those who have lived for hundreds of millions of years can endure loneliness, Night Sorrow said with a smile. What age is that? You're used to it. You're still young, so it's good that you have such patience, Datura said. It's Yujun's and Qingyan's birthday. You said that I was in seclusion. No one suspected anything, right? Night Sorrow asked after taking a sip of wine. They miss you a lot, but I told them that you were in seclusion. So they didn't ask any more questions, but they were disappointed, Datura said helplessly. I don't know how long it'll take for me to go back. I can't help it. Night Sorrow felt uncomfortable when he heard that his son and daughter were disappointed. How about this? Go home with your original body this year and then go to the Reincarnation Palace to cultivate. That way, the children will be happier, Datura said. Okay, then I'll make the best use of my time and try my best to increase my cultivation. The next time it's their birthday, I'll definitely go back, Night Sorrow said. You have to be steady. Increasing your cultivation isn't something that can be done in a day or two, Datura reminded Night Sorrow. I know. Don't worry. My cultivation level is high enough, and my understanding of will is high enough. As long as I increase my qi cultivation, it won't be a big problem. Night Sorrow was very confident about this. Datura nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's state of mind was fine. Then, Night Sorrow rode on the Ice Qilin and continued forward. One day, just as they were about to rest, Night Sorrow discovered that the spiritual energy in front of them was very dense. A mine. Night Sorrow's heart trembled. He knew that he had encountered a mine, a very large one. After a few more steps, Night Sorrow found out the reason. Above the mine was a cracked sky. All sorts of violent auras and energy descended from the sky. This was the reason why the mine was filled with spiritual energy. Knight Sorrow held the space splitter and blasted a hole in the ice mountain. He let the ice Qilin guard the hole while he dug inside. Chapter 12:30. But in fact, after Knight Sorrow went in, the ice Qilin couldn't stay outside. It slammed its body into the hole that Knight Sorrow dug and then went in. The ice Qilin's body was big and couldn't fit into the hole that Knight Sorrow dug, but the mountain wall couldn't withstand its strength. It slammed its body and followed Knight Sorrow into the hole. Knight Sorrow was speechless. The ice Qilin was a little clingy and kept following him. Knight Sorrow didn't say anything and could only continue digging. The ice Qilin kept expanding the tunnel behind him. After digging for a few feet, Knight Sorrow took a deep breath. All he saw were top-grade spirit stones. There were top-grade spirit stones in the periphery. Knight Sorrow was sure that after digging for a bit, there would be holy spirit stones. Ice Qilin, slam into it. It was tiring to dig. Knight Sorrow shouted at the ice Qilin and then communicated with the dragon cauldron to let the weapon spirit collect the spirit stones. The ice Qilin roared and began slamming its body against the mountain wall of the spirit stone mine. After the spirit stones fell from the stones, they flew into the dragon cauldron. The dragon cauldron was collecting them, and Knight Sorrow's sky splitter kept attacking. The spirit stones were dug out very quickly. It could be said that the ice Qilin was moving the spirit stones into the dragon cauldron for Knight Sorrow and the ice Qilin. As they dug, Knight Sorrow and the ice Qilin had more space to move around. Although they had entered the ice mountain, the light was very good and the place was full of sparkling crystals. Knight Sorrow was resting. When he was drinking tea, the concentric crystal in his sleeve vibrated. Knight Sorrow took out the concentric crystal and went in with Datura. What's going on? Are all these sparkling crystals? Datura asked in surprise. That's right. I'm going to be rich this time. In just a short while, I got more than 10,000 holy spirit stones. I just started digging, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. I do have a lot of holy spirit stones, but I haven't dug them out myself. You're giving me a great sense of accomplishment. Datura's eyes were filled with envy. Based on the density of the spirit chi, I estimate that we'll get at least a few 100,000 spirit chi. This job will take some time, Knight Sorrow said as he turned to look at the walls of the catacombs. It's easy for you to say that. No one would complain about digging for too long. Datura looked at Knight Sorrow with disdain. In fact, this job wasn't easy. If it weren't for the help of the ice Qilin and the dragon cauldron's weapon spirit, he would have taken a long time to dig. Now that the ice Qilin's body had crashed into the mountain wall, the dragon cauldron had collected the holy spirit stones. After a few days of digging, Knight Sorrow had filled an entire storage ring with holy spirit stones from the dragon cauldron. There were 200,000 holy spirit stones in the ring. With 200,000 holy spirit stones, the mine wasn't finished yet. Knight Sorrow felt that there was still room for more. Half a month later, Knight Sorrow had finished digging the mine. Knight Sorrow had dug up 500,000 holy spirit stones. The quality of the holy spirit stones was very high. In addition, Knight Sorrow had also found many supreme-grade ores in the core of the mine. However, the most valuable one was the holy spirit liquid that Knight Sorrow had found at the bottom of the mine. Update. New. Fastest. Up. The holy spirit liquid and the spiritual origin liquid were similar in nature. In terms of rarity, the spiritual origin liquid was rarer because it could only be found in places with spiritual origin stones. However, the holy spirit liquid contained more energy and was suitable for King to improve his cultivation. After digging, Knight Sorrow came out of the catacombs and stretched his waist. This was a mature high-level world. There were mature mines here, which were not found in ordinary spatial worlds. Knight Sorrow had entered other spatial worlds before. However, the highest level of spiritual stones was supreme-grade spirit stones. There was a huge difference between the two. Knight Sorrow knew that this was an opportunity. Even in a high-level world, mines that contained hundreds of thousands of holy spirit stones were extremely rare. Only the Ice Dragon world, which was the best of the high-level worlds, could nurture such a mine. After tidying up, Knight Sorrow looked at the ice mountain behind him. The spirit chi was gradually decreasing. He flashed to the back of the ice Qilin and continued forward. Knight Sorrow knew that he wouldn't have to worry about Holy Spirit Stones in the future. The speed at which he consumed Holy Spirit Stones was extremely shocking. He was an array master and often set up arrays. It was normal for a large array to consume tens of thousands of Holy Spirit Stones. Datura was also very envious of Knight Sorrow's adventure. She had never experienced something like this before. Aluo, go to that high-level world, which is the entrance to the Ice Dragon world, and check out the situation. If possible, I will go back once. Help me send the Holy Spirit liquid to the Samsara Palace. My original body will speed up its cultivation. This way, my cultivation and realm can match as soon as possible. I have a transmission array and can go back and forth quickly. Knight Sorrow said as he shook the concentric crystal. Datura naturally supported Knight Sorrow's idea. She was most afraid that Knight Sorrow would treat her as an outsider and not need her for anything. After half a day, Datura shook the concentric crystal and told Knight Sorrow that she had arrived at the high-level world at the entrance. Knight Sorrow set up a transmission array and connected it with his own hidden transmission array. Then he started the transmission. Returning to the vicinity of the entrance, Knight Sorrow carefully checked that no one was squatting at the entrance. Then, he tore open the space and returned to the place where the group of people had gathered. Then, he handed the 2 bottles of Holy Spirit liquid to Datura. Aluo, then I will go back and continue forward. Knight Sorrow nodded to Datura. Be careful. Datura nodded to Knight Sorrow. She knew that Knight Sorrow had gained a lot, but he had also taken a great risk. After tearing open the space and returning to the Ice Dragon world, Knight Sorrow took the transmission array back to the original position. He dismantled the transmission array and continued to explore forward. After moving forward for a while, Knight Sorrow received a message from Datura. She had arrived at the Samsara Palace. At this time, Knight Sorrow's original body knew that his original body was not in deep seclusion. His soul was connected to his doppelganger's soul. After communicating with the Samsara Palace, Knight Sorrow came out to collect the resources. Then, he went back and continued to cultivate. At present, Knight Sorrow's original body was in charge of cultivating and improving his cultivation. His doppelganger took care of some trivial matters and created better conditions. Ice Qilin moved forward. Knight Sorrow stayed in the Dragon Cauldron. It was not hard, but he had to constantly use his soul power to explore. Ice Qilin was very strong, but its tyrannical part was its body. Its soul power was not as good as Knight Sorrow's. Knight Sorrow and Ice Qilin's resting time had also decreased. They kept moving forward every day. In fact, they did not need to rest. Resting was just relaxing. Knight Sorrow knew that they had 30 years. However, looking at the map now, they had only traveled less than 1/3 of the way. If they continued to walk and stop, it would take a few years to reach the central area. In addition, when they reached the central area, Knight Sorrow would have to withdraw Ice Qilin and explore by himself. It was still very time-consuming. While his original body was cultivating, Knight Sorrow planned to use his doppelganger to accompany his family. He could not spend all his time in the Ice Dragon world. Knight Sorrow had always cherished everything he had now. Knight Sorrow changed his route. He let Ice Qilin fly along the mystic ice river. He could walk in a straight line according to the map, but it was very dangerous. Many places were the territories of high-level demon beasts. It was better to follow the mystic ice river. Because the mystic ice river's water flow was fierce, it carried energy waves. If one did not pay attention, they would not find Ice Qilin. The days passed like this as they advanced. Battles were common. If a strong opponent appeared, Knight Sorrow would have the Ice Qilin retreat. Otherwise they would just kill. Dodging meant wasting time. Chapter 1231. While Knight Sorrow was advancing, the Nine Regions world was also shaking. The evil Spirit King brought Songjiang, the #1 king, to attack the Nine Regions world. They even broke the spatial barrier of the Nine Regions world and entered the Nine Regions world. Knight Sorrow's clone in the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall used the empty spirit pearl given by the Qing Emperor to seal the evil Spirit King and Songjiang inside. The crisis of the Nine Regions world was resolved, but the tribulation was not over yet. Because the evil Spirit King and Songjiang had to be killed, The Nine Regions world would devour the evil spirit world to strengthen itself. There was no danger now, but it was still unable to advance. The evil spirit king was very disgusting. It was a man and a woman, and it was both yin and yang. Currently, Night Sorrow had no way to deal with it. The empty spirit pearl was able to suppress these two. Even though the clone from the heaven-sealing Great Hall had a sovereign king weapon and the source, it was still unable to kill the evil spirit king and Azure River. If he could ask someone else to do it, it would not be difficult to kill the disgusting evil spirit king. However, this matter had to be solved by the people of the Nine Regions world. If Night Sorrow could not do it, then the people of the Nine Regions world could not do it either. Night Sorrow's clone in the heaven-sealing Great Hall threw the empty spirit pearl into the heaven-sealing Great Hall to suppress it. Breakthrough. The heaven-sealing Great Hall kept reinforcing the empty spirit pearl with the origin of the Nine Regions world, stabilizing the empty spirit pearl and suppressing it. There was no possibility of the evil spirit king and Songjiang coming out. Q Original P First Night Sorrow, who was far away in the Ice Dragon realm, felt at ease. The evil spirit king and Songjiang had always been his worry. Even with the empty spirit pearl, Night Sorrow had never truly felt at ease. After all, there were many unstable factors. Now that the problem was solved, Night Sorrow celebrated by himself. He drank a jar of wine and continued forward. The main body used the Holy Spirit liquid to cultivate in the pagoda of time and space. Night Sorrow's clone could feel his true qi increasing rapidly. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Sandalwood returned with a woman. The woman was very delicate and had a spiritual aura. Sandalwood brought the woman to meet the Qing Emperor. Master, disciple is planning to get married. Sandalwood bowed. All right, she's called Yi, right? Actually, I already knew. Just pick an auspicious day and do it, the Qing Emperor said to Sandalwood and the woman she brought back. Thank you, Master. Please keep it simple. Yi and I don't mind, said Sandalwood. That won't do. You are my first disciple, and Yi has been waiting for you for so many years. The wedding cannot be simple. It has to be grand. 5 million years ago, the world of Samsara knew the name Sandalwood. 5 million years later, others also need to know the name. Qing Emperor rejected the idea of a simple wedding. Master and disciple were like father and son. He didn't want his disciple's wedding to be simple. Then I'll listen to Master. I'll go have a drink with junior brother later, Zhantan said. I'm afraid you won't be able to see him for a while. His original body is cultivating in the Samsara Palace, and his doppelganger went to the Ice Dragon realm. He's really working hard, just like you back then. Some things are suppressed in his heart, and he's trying his best to improve his strength, the Qing Emperor said. Junior brother isn't here? Then I'm not in a hurry to get married. There are only a few important people in my world. Master didn't say anything, but junior brother must be here too. I can't lose anyone but junior brother, Sandalwood said. Then I'll listen to you. Xiandarozi, how's the construction of the heavy flower palace? The Qing Emperor asked. Soon. It will be completed soon, Xiandarozi bowed. Sandalwood, you don't need anything, and you don't care about anything. After you were reborn, I arranged for people to build a palace. This will be your wedding gift, the Qing Emperor said. Sandalwood nodded. He was very excited. The Qing Emperor was no different from a father in his heart. After all these years, he still hadn't given up on him. Master, when I came back, I saw the Qing Emperor's guards and the Imperial City guards increasing their patrols. Is something the matter? Sandalwood recalled what he saw when he came back. Yes. Your junior brother has been in the limelight for a long time. Many people want to harm him. Something happened a while ago, so I sent people to reorganize the Qing Emperor's city. The Qing Emperor nodded. There are people who are stupid enough to cause trouble in the Qing Emperor's city? Sandalwood raised his eyebrows. Yes. It's not a force yet. It's mainly because some people are jealous of what Night Sorrow did, so there are some disputes. Xiandarozi explained what happened a while ago. They're really asking for it. They're bullying my junior brother because he's young and hasn't cultivated for long. Master, I'm going to kill them. What Black Fiend Valley? Others might be afraid, but I'm not afraid of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. I'm not afraid either. Sandalwood was furious when he heard that the 9-story tower was attacked. You don't have to worry about this. I've already taken care of it. You and E can relax for a while. Your past wasn't easy. Cherish the present and the future, the Qing Emperor said. He was very happy because his two disciples were as close as brothers. Sandalwood brought E back to a side courtyard next to the Qing Emperor's palace. It was his residence 5 million years ago. 5 million years had passed. Everything had changed, but this side courtyard was still the same. It was the residence of the eldest disciple. The Qing Emperor had always sent people to take care of it. I'm sorry. We had to wait for junior brother to get married. In my life, the three most important people are master, junior brother and you. Sandalwood looked at E and said, he gave you a chance to stand up again. He also gave us a chance. Although I haven't seen him before, I'm still very grateful. E said, junior brother's charisma is extremely high. He's a world overlord. I'll know once I see you. However, I don't know when that fellow will return. Let's go, we'll stay in the 9-story tower. The other princes all have their own palaces. In the future, we'll stay in the Heavy Flower Palace. We'll stay in the side courtyard when we're free. E smiled and nodded. She knew that Sandalwood was just like what the Qing Emperor said. He didn't lack anything and didn't care about anything. He had such thoughts because of her. When they arrived at the 9-story tower, Sandalwood treated it like it was his own home. He directly called for He Chiu to arrange a place for them to stay. After that, he brought E to the army camp. The army stationed in the 9-story tower was the Anping army. When the army commander, An Ning, saw Sandalwood, he bowed. Knight Sorrow was the current commander and was someone he respected. Sandalwood was also someone he respected. All right, there's no need to be so polite. Call them over for a drink. As for the new commanders, don't forget to call them over. Sandalwood said to An Ning. Nu Lin, Qin Leitang and the others came. However, Qi Wang didn't come. It wasn't that he didn't want to come. It was because of the military order. Knight Sorrow had said that the Heaven Tiger Pass must be guarded by a commander. This was an ironclad rule. The commander of the 9 Heavens army had to follow it. It's not suitable to lack one. Let's go to the Heaven Tiger Pass and drink in the commander's residence. I'm in a good mood today. Sandalwood said. Sandalwood, this is your fault. Why didn't you call me over for a drink? Summer City appeared. Chapter 1232. Uncle Summer, why are you so mysterious? I went to the hall just now and didn't see you. This is Uncle Summer. He has taught me before and is the most trusted person of our master. Jean Tan introduced. Bowed to the county seat. Very good, very good. Although your highness has gone through some hardships, it's time for you to start a family. We can't let you down. Summer City nodded. Uncle Summer, don't worry. I won't. Jean Tan nodded. Then let's go drink together and come back to study how to make tea. That hypocrite Shangguan Hong keeps saying that I don't know how to make tea. I have to make it. Summer City lifted the tea bag in his hand and said. He had gone out to buy some good tea. Uncle Summer, let's make this together. Master said that I'm not calm enough and wants me to cultivate tea. Jean Tan said. Then let's do it together. That hypocrite is full of bad ideas. Who is he trying to attack by making tea? I don't believe we can't figure it out. Summer City said. Junior brother is an expert in this field. It's a pity he's not here. Jean Tan was worried about Knight Sorrow. He knew about the Ice Dragon realm and how dangerous it was. At this moment, Knight Sorrow was in the dragon cauldron on the back of the Ice Cheelant's neck. He was drinking tea and looking outside. The danger wasn't high. If the beasts came, he would fight. As for the teams that came in, Knight Sorrow felt that the chances of encountering them were low. He had followed the Mystic Ice River, which was one of the fastest routes. It had been more than a year, so the chances of encountering cultivators were low. But in fact, Knight Sorrow still encountered a team. A very despicable team led by a woman. When Knight Sorrow sensed the team and told the Ice Cheelan to change direction, the team began to chase after him at an extremely fast speed. Knight Sorrow naturally couldn't fight with them. There were more than 10 of them, and each of them had a higher cultivation than him. It would be dangerous if they caught up. Night Sorrow commanded the Ice Qilin to enter the glacier river. He then asked the Ice Qilin not to resist. Afterward, he used his soul power to collect the Ice Qilin into the dragon cauldron. Afterward, he smashed the dragon cauldron into the bottom of the river. Since he couldn't outrun them, Night Sorrow could only hide. He didn't believe that they could find him because they were still some distance away. They wouldn't be able to see his movements clearly and wouldn't know how he hid. Night Sorrow had just hidden for a moment when this group of people also entered the profound ice river with their protective chi shields and began to search. Senior sister, was that a mystic jade unicorn tiger? A man asked. Yes, it's also called a profound jade beast. According to the records, it's called a profound ice unicorn tiger. However, something's not quite right. The profound ice unicorn tiger has a violent temper and is fond of killing. It doesn't make sense for it to run away when it sees us. Moreover, it disappeared after entering the profound ice river, said the woman. Let's search. If we can catch it, we can bring it back to the Shenwu Great World. It's also a rare treasure, said the man who spoke. Our fortune gate needs this. The profound ice unicorn tiger is very difficult to tame, but as long as we can catch it and bring it back, it'll be fine. When a high-grade ice-attributed demonic beast dies, its body's energy will be sealed in ice and won't dissipate. We can use a secret method to extract its life force and turn it into a complete skeleton. The woman explained as she searched. How cruel! Their methods were also vile, directly extracting its life force and leaving it a complete skeleton. Night Sorrow hadn't thought that there would be such a cruel person. Killing it was one thing, but doing so was completely inhumane. After searching for a while, the group of people once again gathered at Night Sorrow's hiding place. Senior sister, this shouldn't be the case. The profound ice unicorn tiger disappeared here, and then there was no aura or energy fluctuation. Another man said. It's a little strange. Let's go. The woman in the lead said. Night Sorrow kept probing with his soul force, and then smiled. Not only were these people inhumane, they were also very sinister. Although they said they were going, they were hiding not far from the shore. Let's compete in patience then. Night Sorrow stayed inside the dragon cauldron, and slowly drank a pot of hot tea. The inside of the dragon cauldron was much more comfortable than the world of ice and snow outside. 2 days later, the group of people once again appeared at the bottom of the river to search. Dark holes, space tunnels, and the like, look for more. The profound ice unicorn tiger can't just disappear under our noses. The woman in the lead said. She was the granddaughter of the Fortune Gate's Grand Elder, Bai Yun. She came out this time to accumulate experience and slowly climb up the Fortune Gate's ranks. The profound jade unicorn tiger was a very good resource, and capturing it would be a great merit, but now it couldn't be found. Bai Yun also had a map in her hands. The Fortune Gate was very famous in the Shenwu Great World, and they were also very powerful, so it was normal for them to have a map of the Ice Dragon World. Bai Yun knew that there was a profound jade unicorn tiger in the profound ice river, but she didn't dare to go there because that was where the profound jade unicorn tigers lived. If she dared to swagger there, it was no different than seeking death. Therefore, she was very excited when she saw the profound jade unicorn tiger alone, but until now, she had found nothing. Patience. Night Sorrow didn't lack patience. Now that the enemy was in the light, and he was in the dark, all the opportunities were in his hands. He didn't need to do anything, he just needed to hide here and wait for Bai Yun and the others to leave. After searching for another day, Bai Yun gave up because there was no hope. Night Sorrow was a little depressed when he used his soul force to probe Bai Yun and the others moving along the profound ice river. This was equivalent to them taking the path he wanted to take. Night Sorrow wasn't willing to change their route because following the profound ice river would lead them to the Ice Dragon Abyss. The Ice Dragon Abyss was the core of the Ice Dragon world, and it wasn't far from the Ice Dragon ancestral land. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to follow them and let them lead the way. It was safer for him to stay at the back. Although Night Sorrow's cultivation was low, his soul force wasn't much weaker than others, and he also had the assistance of the 9 Regions Origin Pearl. Therefore, he had the advantage and wouldn't lose out in scouting. Bai Yun and the others moved forward, while Night Sorrow controlled the 9 Regions Origin Pearl to increase his soul force to the maximum limit. Then, he rode on the Ice Unicorn and flew along the profound ice river. Night Sorrow felt that this was a good idea. He could avoid a lot of risks this way. Bai Yun and the others were inhumane, so he didn't feel guilty about using them. As for opportunities, Knight Sorrow felt that he had already obtained what he needed. Not to mention, there were also top-grade ores in the profound ice river. If there was an opportunity, there would be. If there wasn't, there was no need to force it. After following them for 2 days, nothing happened. Knight Sorrow knew that his plan was right. He would continue like this. Bai Yun and the others often had to fight. Their nature was different from Knight Sorrow's because the battles that the Ice Unicorn could avoid, Bai Yun and the others couldn't. Knight Sorrow didn't surpass Bai Yun and the others. When Bai Yun and the others fought, Knight Sorrow would wait. When Bai Yun and the others moved forward, he would continue to follow. When he was chatting with Dachira, Knight Sorrow mentioned this matter. Dachira laughed. Knight Sorrow, your method is a bit shameless. You can't say that, right? If I'm not behind, won't they still have to fight? I'm just passing by, they won't lose anything. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. 4th update. It's already very close to morning. I'm also sleepy, so I'll go rest for a while. Then, I'll continue working. Thank you for your support. Today's 11th update is expected. I feel that I can sleep for 2 hours and still be a hero. Chapter 1233. Dachira found a suitable word to describe Knight Sorrow. What you said makes sense, but I feel like something's wrong. Yes, I should say that he's sitting back and enjoying the fruits of others' labor. I'm at the back, and I'm also bearing the risk of being discovered by them. I've also paid the price. Knight Sorrow smiled. All right. You're doing the right thing, and I support you. The strong preys on the weak, that's how it works. Dachira gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up. She was just joking, and Knight Sorrow's actions were normal. After all, they were competitors, and there was nothing wrong with what he did. After chatting for a while, Knight Sorrow continued forward. He couldn't fall behind because he had to pay attention to what was happening in front of him. After advancing for half a month, Knight Sorrow felt that it was a bit tiring, so he decided to do something more daring. While Bai Yun and the others were resting, Knight Sorrow put the ice qilin into the dragon cauldron and controlled it to fly through the wind and snow. It landed in a gap in a man's armor and stayed there. Knight Sorrow knew that there was no problem. He would just continue like this until it was about time to leave this group of people. Bai Yun and the others were having a hard time advancing because there were too many battles. After advancing for half a year, Bai Yun's group couldn't go on anymore. They had lost half of their group, and they gave up on advancing. They felt that they had no chance. They hadn't even reached the central region, and if they continued, they might be completely wiped out. Bai Yun and the others didn't continue, but Knight Sorrow still wanted to continue. He controlled the dragon cauldron to roll out of the armor of the surviving man and landed on the ground. He watched as these people left. The days of advancing alone had begun again. Knight Sorrow laughed at himself. After Bai Yun and the others disappeared, he released the ice qilin and continued forward. Yes. Knight Sorrow had a spatial treasure and the ice qilin's help, so he had an advantage that others didn't. The ice qilin flew and didn't provoke anyone. It was no problem for him to keep a low profile. A few days ago, Knight Sorrow had discovered the spatial essence iron on the banks of the profound ice river. When Knight Sorrow was collecting it, Dachira happened to vibrate the concentric crystal to communicate with Knight Sorrow. The heavenly Tao's blessing, fate. I can understand now. Those unlucky fellows traveled for so long, but they didn't gain much. Now they just left for a few days, and you traveled alone, and you already gained so much. Perseverance will always pay off. They lack perseverance, so this opportunity has nothing to do with them, Knight Sorrow said. Dachira nodded. That was indeed the case. Bai Yun and the others had given up halfway, so they naturally lost their luck. After collecting the human-sized spatial refined iron, Knight Sorrow returned to the dragon cauldron. He asked Ice Qilin to move forward while he talked to Dachira. Your method is very shameless, but I have to say that it's very useful. Your safety is guaranteed. Dachira was very impressed with Knight Sorrow's method, but she also understood that it couldn't be replicated. Perhaps others could think of the same method, but it would be too difficult to do it. Night Sorrow's journey was still very safe. The Ice Qilin was a very good shield. Most importantly, they couldn't meet the Ice Dragon. The reason why Bai Yun and the others suffered so much was because they met the Ice Dragon. The Ice Dragon's attacks were very violent. After killing Bai Yun and the others, it was severely injured and flew away. Bai Yun and the others didn't dare to chase after it. When fighting with cultivators, the Ice Dragon would leave after being injured. If the profound Ice Qilin Tiger encountered it, it would fight to the death. After traveling for another 2 months and avoiding a few dangers, the profound Ice Qilin Tiger became a little violent. Night Sorrow knew that something was wrong, so he directly put the Jade Qilin Tiger into the Dragon Cauldron and controlled it to hide. After hiding for half a day, Night Sorrow controlled the Dragon Cauldron to check the surroundings. There must be a reason for the profound Ice Qilin Tiger to be violent. After checking the surroundings, there was no movement or beast. Night Sorrow was puzzled. After returning to the Dragon Cauldron, Night Sorrow communicated with the Ice Qilin, but the Ice Qilin didn't say anything. After hesitating for a while, Night Sorrow took the Ice Qilin out of the Dragon Cauldron. The Ice Qilin roared towards the east. "Move slowly, let's go take a look." Night Sorrow ordered the Ice Qilin. He had checked the east, and there wasn't any dangerous aura. However, there must be a reason why the Ice Qilin was so angry. After moving forward for a while, the Ice Qilin rammed into a small iceberg. Iceberg. Night Sorrow knew why the Ice Qilin went berserk. As the Ice Qilin rammed into the iceberg, it exploded. At this moment, the Ice Qilin opened its mouth and pounced forward. Night Sorrow quickly stopped it because he found out what was inside the iceberg. It was the skeleton of an ice dragon. An injured skeleton of an ice dragon. It was the skeleton of an ice dragon that died in a battle. There were many wounds on the ice dragon's body. Night Sorrow analyzed that the ice dragon couldn't return to the ice dragon's ancestral land after it was injured in the battle. It died here. However, before it died, it used its energy to freeze itself. It was unknown how long the ice dragon had died. The iceberg was covered in thick snow. If it wasn't for the Ice Qilin's senses, it would be impossible to find it. The skeleton of the ice dragon was damaged and couldn't be used to set up an array. It couldn't be used as the core of an array. However, it was still valuable. Night Sorrow's soul power burst out and transferred the skeleton into the Dragon Cauldron. He then entered the Dragon Cauldron to study it. The skeleton of the ice dragon was about 70 feet long and had a diameter of more than a meter. Its body was covered in white scales that were still flowing with light. It had 4 powerful limbs and abnormally sharp claws. Night Sorrow examined it and knew that he had gained a lot. The heart blood and essence blood were still there. They were what he needed the most. They could be used to increase the strength of his body. As for the bones, they could be used to refine tools. They were top-quality materials. The Dragon Bone Saber and Dragon Bone Sword were both extremely expensive. The Ice Dragon was of the Ice attribute. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry to deal with it. It wouldn't rot or be damaged anyway. The Ice Qilin, who entered the Dragon Cauldron with Night Sorrow, was still furious when it saw the Ice Dragon's corpse. The profound Ice Qilin and the Ice Dragon were natural enemies. This concept was ingrained in the Ice Qilin's bones. It's already dead. You don't have to be angry. You can deal with the living ones when you see them. Night Sorrow patted the Ice Qilin's head and left the Dragon Cauldron with the Ice Qilin. They continued to explore the surroundings. However, Night Sorrow was disappointed. The dead Ice Dragon didn't have any treasures. Night Sorrow understood that this was the place where the Ice Dragon had temporarily fallen. It wasn't his nest. Therefore, there weren't any treasures that could be obtained. Continuing forward, Night Sorrow was looking for the undamaged skeleton of the Ice Dragon. Only then could it be used as the core of an array. There were many demonic beasts in the Great Thousand World. However, only the ice attribute beasts could be used as the core of an array. After death, the energy in the body would be sealed in ice and wouldn't dissipate. After Night Sorrow left for a while, 2 men in black appeared. Chapter 1234. Someone has been here. The iceberg broke not long ago. They must have taken something away, a man in black said. Someone must have been here. They must have a map. I don't know who they are, but that's not important. What's important is that they are going to die, another man said. Young master is right. Their opportunity is your highness' opportunity, said the man who spoke at the beginning. They were from the celestial sect in the world of reincarnation. Their leader was the young master of the celestial sect, Ling Ju. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The celestial sect didn't have a sky master, but even if they did, they wouldn't provoke them easily. That was because the celestial sect's inheritance was terrifying. Even without a sky master, they could still unleash the power of a sky master. As one of the young masters, Ling Ju was very powerful. He was already a star king, but with a secret technique, he could fight against a monarch. Therefore, Ling Ju was confident when facing other teams. The person beside him was his personal guard, Wuxian, who was also very powerful. Therefore, the two of them didn't join the other teams of the celestial sect. They formed an elite team. Then, Ling Ju and Wuxian continued along the profound ice river. Night Sorrow chose to go along the profound ice river. Naturally, other people also chose to go along the profound ice river. It was just that they arrived at different times. Night Sorrow had a map, but it wasn't the only one. It was recorded later. Therefore, some disciples of the big forces also had it. Night Sorrow rode on the ice Qilin and moved much faster than ordinary people. He killed the beasts that blocked his way. If he couldn't kill them, he would go around them. King-level beasts were very intelligent. As long as the other party was willing to back off, they wouldn't kill them. Of course, it was different when the ice Qilin met the ice dragon. It was a natural enemy. Ling Ju and Wuxian were also very fast. The two of them advanced while killing. Night Sorrow avoided the beasts, but they didn't. As long as it wasn't a monarch-level beast, they wouldn't be afraid. On Night Sorrow and the ice Qilin worked together to kill a 5-star king-level snow lion. Ling Ju and Wuxian caught up. Alone? Then don't live. Wuxian, kill him, Ling Ju shouted. Ice Qilin, let's go. Night Sorrow knew that danger had come. He couldn't see through Ling Ju and Wuxian's cultivation levels, and he had heard Ling Ju's murderous roar. Night Sorrow's body flashed and landed on the back of the roaring ice Qilin. He controlled the ice Qilin to enter the Black Ice River and fly across the river. When he reached the other side of the Mystic Ice River, he ordered the ice Qilin to crash into the ice mountain on the other side of the river. He also launched an attack and charged into the belly of the mountain. The ice Qilin's horn was in front, and it slammed into the ice mountain with all its might. Just like the mountain-splitting mythical beast, it charged into the mountain. Knock the top down and don't resist, Night Sorrow instructed Ice Qilin. When the Ice Qilin collapsed the cave, Night Sorrow's soul power burst out and pulled the Ice Qilin into the dragon cauldron. He smashed a bottle of soul-destroying poison and entered the dragon cauldron as well. Then, he mixed the dragon cauldron with the crushed rocks and ice and hid it inside the ice mountain. Wuxian also arrived before the ice mountain. When he was about to enter the cave, the ice mountain had already collapsed, and he could not enter directly. Ling Ju rushed over after killing the snow lion with one slash. Master, the person disappeared when the ice mountain collapsed. He might have gone underground or gone deep into the ice mountain, Wuxian said while bowing. That person is Night Sorrow from the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Ling Ju squinted his eyes and looked at the ice mountain. The one with the heavenly artifact? Wuxian was stunned. That's right. Otherwise, why would a 3-star king like him be here? He was able to come here because he relied on the miraculous heavenly Tao. Perhaps this is our opportunity. Ling Ju waved his arm. Under the vibration of the energy, crushed ice and rocks flew everywhere. He was going into the ice mountain. Wuxian began to help as well. The heavenly artifact was more important than the ice dragon's bone. As they rumbled, Ling Ju and Wuxian entered the ice mountain and cleared the collapsed area. However, there was no sign of Night Sorrow in the empty mountain. There was also no tunnel. Strange. Why is he gone? Ling Ju was puzzled when he didn't see Night Sorrow. Wuxian didn't say anything because he didn't know what was going on either. However, after a while, Wuxian's body shook. Something's wrong. Why is my soul being corroded? Wuxian's face changed. His soul was being corroded to a great extent. If this continued, he wouldn't be able to hold on. Wuxian didn't have time to say anything else. He sat down and resisted the attack on his soul. Ling Ju's face changed as well. He was the same. His soul was being corroded. Night Sorrow's soul-destroying poisonous smoke had taken effect. Night Sorrow, who was not far from them, felt that this was an opportunity. It was unrealistic to kill all of them, but there was a chance to kill one of them. Night Sorrow ate an antidote for the soul-destroying poisonous smoke and fed one to the Ice Qilin as well. He let the Ice Qilin use its energy to protect its body. Then, he rushed out of the Time Pagoda and used the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash on the meditating Wu Shan. His left hand smashed another bottle of soul-destroying poisonous smoke. He also used the soul-destroying poisonous smoke to attack Wu Shan. He didn't show any mercy. In Night Sorrow's heart, Ling Ju and Wu Shan were different from Bai Yun's team. Ling Ju had recognized him and wouldn't leave easily. Therefore, he had to think of a way to solve the crisis. If there was a chance to kill him, then he had to do it. The purple halo of the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash enveloped Wu Shan. Wu Shan was meditating. When he realized that he was being attacked, he quickly tried to break free from the purple halo's control and used his sword to block Night Sorrow's Reincarnation Slash. Following an explosion, Wu Shan's body stopped and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His soul was attacked by the soul-destroying poisonous smoke. He suppressed it with all his strength, so he couldn't even use 30% of his strength. Dark Mountain had managed to block Yi Shang's attack, but his body had also suffered a violent impact. It was mainly because Yi Shang's attack had been too sudden and he had used his full strength. Dark Mountain had not been able to withstand it. After the collision, Night Sorrow's soul-destroying slash also attacked Wu Shan's spiritual sea. Wu Shan was stunned. But at this time, Ling Ju used his sword Qi to force the Ice Qilin back. Then, he cut his sword towards the path that Night Sorrow attacked Wu Shan. Ling Ju knew that Wu Shan was severely injured because he was also greatly affected. But he couldn't watch Wu Shan be killed. That was his biggest support. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back and dodged the sputtering sword Qi. Then, he threw out the sky-piercing spear. He used the Void Extreme Kill. The sky-piercing spear, which had been upgraded to a king weapon, flew through the air and towards Wu Shan's head. Wu Shan felt the threat coming. He suppressed the soul-destroying slash's attack and opened his eyes. He didn't have time to dodge or block, so he set up his protective energy to the strongest level. Normally, Wu Shan's protective energy could block a mid-level king's attack. But Night Sorrow used the Void Extreme Kill. As the purple halo exploded, the sky-piercing spear's energy destroyed Wu Shan's protective energy. It directly entered between Wu Shan's eyebrows and shattered his spiritual sea. 6th update. Chapter 1235. After killing Wu Shan, Night Sorrow retrieved the sky-piercing spear and the soul-extinguishing crescent moon blade. He then retreated and rushed towards the Ice Qilin. When Ling Ju forced the Ice Qilin to retreat, Night Sorrow ordered the Ice Qilin to crash into the mountain as he needed a way out. After meeting up with the Ice Qilin, Night Sorrow threw a bottle of 7 deadly poison smoke behind him. Then, he and the Ice Qilin fled into the mountain. The Ice Qilin's hind legs were still shaking violently, causing the ground behind it to collapse, blocking Ling Ju's pursuit. First, Ling Ju, who was in pursuit, saw the blue 7 deadly poison smoke. He was stunned for a moment before he stopped. A sword Qi flew towards Night Sorrow's back. The sword Qi was too fast. Night Sorrow couldn't dodge it. He had no choice but to activate the 9 heavy armor and use the power of Desolates to protect himself. At the same time, he continued to charge forward with the Ice Qilin. With an explosion, Night Sorrow's body almost fell. Ling Ju's sword Qi attacked his back, but it was blocked by the 9 heavy armor. If Ling Ju was at his peak, Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to block it even with the 9 heavy armor. Ling Ju was hit by the soul-extinguishing smoke, so he was very cautious. Most of his energy was used to suppress the soul-extinguishing smoke, so Night Sorrow was able to block it. After advancing for a while, Night Sorrow and the Ice Qilin charged downwards with all their might. The Ice Mountain was very hard, but the Ice Qilin was born with great strength. In addition to his strong body, he was able to crash down with all his might. "I, Ling Ju, will definitely kill you," Ling Ju roared. He was extremely angry, but he couldn't chase after him. After a few breaths, Night Sorrow and the Ice Qilin reached the mysterious ice river and charged into it. After running for a while, Night Sorrow wrapped the Ice Qilin with his soul power and entered the dragon cauldron. They descended for a while before stopping. Then, he released his soul power to investigate the battle just now. He was already dozens of miles away. At this distance, Ling Ju couldn't dig him out, but he could observe Ling Ju's actions. Night Sorrow knew that there had been a lot of accidents involved in killing Dark Mountain. Under normal circumstances, there should have been no chance at all. Killing Dark Mountain was already an incredible achievement. It was unrealistic to want to fight against Ling Ju. Ling Ju was still able to fight after being poisoned by the soul-destroying poison, which meant that he was strong. Even if he was poisoned and not in his best condition, he was still not someone Night Sorrow could fight against. Night Sorrow gave Ice Qilin some life-spirit fluid. The Ice Qilin seemed to be fine, but the violent collision with the ice mountain had caused its internal body to be severely shaken. Now, its nose was still bleeding. At this time, Ling Ju flew out of the ice mountain. The area was full of poisonous smoke, so he couldn't bring it with him. As for Dark Mountain's corpse, he could only give up on it. Both he and Dark Mountain had come with their real bodies, because they were confident in their own abilities. Flying back to the other side of the profound ice river, Ling Ju killed the demonic beasts attracted by the Ice Qilin's roar and ate some pills to suppress the poison. However, the soul-destroying poison refined by Datura was very strong. Although it couldn't take Ling Ju's life, it still brought him a lot of trouble. It couldn't be solved in a short time. After meditating for a while, Ling Ju realized that he couldn't do it. If this continued, it would be difficult to solve it. Moreover, this wasn't a safe area. After thinking for a while, he flew forward. Night Sorrow controlled the dragon cauldron and flew far behind. He wanted to see what Ling Ju was going to do. After flying for a while, Ling Ju took out some spirit stones and started to set up a formation. Illusion formation. Night Sorrow knew that it was an illusion formation. The scenery changed, and he couldn't see what was inside the formation. However, Night Sorrow felt Ling Ju's aura in the formation. Night Sorrow felt that Ling Ju was quite smart to set up a formation to heal himself. However, after a while, Night Sorrow frowned. He realized that Ling Ju's aura had disappeared. Spatial treasure. Could Ling Ju have entered a spatial treasure? Night Sorrow had 2 spatial treasures on him. It was normal for others to have one as well. Moreover, Ling Ju's background was also high. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that there was another possibility. It was a teleportation formation. Ling Ju had set up a teleportation formation. Then, he went back to solve the problem like he did when he sent the resources. Ling Ju was also an array master. If he entered a spatial treasure, there was no need for him to set up a formation. If he stayed in the spatial treasure to expel the poison, it would be hard for others to find him. Night Sorrow felt that there was a high possibility that it was a teleportation formation. He decided to take a gamble. If Ling Ju was still there, then he would continue to think of a way to escape. If Ling Ju was still there, then sorry, but he would destroy his teleportation formation. After reaching the illusion formation, Night Sorrow started to break the formation. As a heavenly adept array master, Night Sorrow had no problem breaking an illusion formation. When Night Sorrow broke the illusion formation and found a teleportation formation, it was also destroyed. Fortunately, the teleportation crystal was not broken. Ling Ju was also worried that others would ambush him after breaking the illusion formation, so he had a backup plan. However, Night Sorrow felt that it was enough to destroy the teleportation formation.